Attention all blacksmiths. I'm gonna need y'all to put your hands together. Welcome back home. Welcome to another episode of Bronze Room. I'm joined by none other than my lovely host, Joy. Joy, say what's up to the people.
Hello, what's up to my fellow blacksmiths? Thank you for having me here. My second show here, but it's the 21st airing for you. So, you should be excited about that. I am.
Right. You know, I forgot. This is our Deion Sanders episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey.
Prime time.
That's what's up. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm feeling good.
21 episodes strong. We got you at the addition to the podcast. We even stronger now.
Thank you.
Appeal and just reach a bigger audience from this point. I'm loving it.
It's only expansion from here, really, right? Yeah.
That's all we do is we're all about growth in the Bronze Room.
We are. And thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me be that growth, that good bacteria.
That fertilizer that we need sprout our branches. Hell yeah.
But as long as I'm not the shitty kind.
Yeah. No. Not manure. Not manure.
Okay.
Like Home Depot.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
That organic stuff. Not shit.
Right. Okay.
All right, so let's get into it. On this day today. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, oh witch. The wicked witch. Ding dong, the wicked witch is dead.
Hey.
On today, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you're talking to, September 8th, 2022, the world has lost Queen Elizabeth. I don't know if she's like the first or second or whatever, but we've lost Queen Elizabeth. She died today from natural causes. I'm assuming she was 96. So
yeah.
But not to shed
too much light. In all that evil.
Right. Not to shed too much light on that, but we're gonna pivot it to also shed light on the real queen, the one that who runs the world. You know, it's Queen Bee. Queen Bee, she celebrated her, I don't even know how old she is, but she celebrated her birthday September 4th of this month, just 4 days ago. 1981 is when she came into this world and changed it forevermore. She was born in Houston, Texas. And as we all know, she went on to star Destiny's Child and split from the group eventually and has not looked back ever since.
Okay. And just to pivot off of that, one of her best albums is B-Day. The best albums, hand down. That album to this day is a timeless classic album.
So enlighten me. Which one is B-Day? Which singles are off of B-Day?
B-Day. Okay, so she has Me, Myself, and I on there. I got me, myself, and I is all I got. That's when she had Deja Vu on there with Jay-Z. It's kind of like when she first really broke out into her own, and you could really see who she was.
Yeah, so that was like circa 2005.
Yeah, maybe around then. I just remember I wanted to be her. I think that's the album where she has her little diamond little bra. It's like this diamond little thing she has on with some jeans. Her little blonde hair.
Is this the video where she's like in the alleyway and she's doing the
I believe yes. Oh yeah, yes, because that's when we got to see.
That was like not the beginning of twerking. That's when twerking was really like it was a spotlight on twerking because that's what she was doing.
Right. We hadn't seen it done by like a main. Right. You know, you've seen background dancers do it and then the videos and the background videos, you never seen it. And I still remember the outfit. She had her little varsity jacket on. She had her little burgundy hat because I wanted to be her.
She kind of great. Jay-Z was rubbing off on her already at that point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could already, he was like, let's get your swag in there. You know, he helped give Aaliyah her swag. He helped give Beyonce her swag.
Does he have a part in Aaliyah's career?
Yeah, I feel like he was influential. Yeah, he was close to her. And I feel like he definitely so I don't get off subject. I do definitely feel like he influenced Beyonce's. He helped her because he had that street with him. People forget that man, you know, I was raised in the projects, roaches and rats. Like he went from hood rich to billionaire. I feel like they both influenced each other. They both
100%. Yeah. I don't think any one of their brands would be quite the same if they hadn't gotten together.
I agree. I agree.
Successful in their own right, but not in quite the same way.
Yeah. But I mean, they did good. She didn't have her tours. I'm like, I would love to tour with my man, with my husband.
Oh, have they toured together? That only makes sense.
Yeah.
That they did.
You know, he's come on our shows and performed, and you know, I'm a woman. You say, you know, we stay in tune with all that stuff. Beyonce shows, we hear about all that. But yeah, you know, she was doing tours off of old music too. I said, that's not everybody can do that, but she definitely has made timeless music. Like,
yeah, I remember that first album that she dropped. It was fire for sure.
It was fire. Yeah, and it was called B-Day.
I mean, yeah, it was R&B. She had some bangers.
Yeah,
pretty hard. I had a roommate that we would drive around in his whip. He had some power in that trunk. So we was banging that album, honestly. Like,
right, that's what's up. Okay, see, I love to hear men. I like hearing about men listen to R&B and
100%.
You know, yeah, okay.
No
right, y'all was like, uh-oh.
Not track in particular, but
I'm just playing. No, but she do got some bangers.
Upgrade. Is it Upgrade You?
Oh, Upgrade is on there too. Oh, Upgrade is a banger. Yeah.
I think is Jay-Z featured on that one?
He is on that. His verse is hard on there. His verse is one of the favorite. His verse is one of my favorite parts on there. But the whole song was written wonderfully. Yeah, I like that. The video was fire. Yeah, she got good visuals too. Like Michael Jackson. A lot of people compare them, and a lot of people. I've heard people. They're like, no, you can't compare MJ. But honestly, they're both great. But I ain't never heard somebody. I say Beyonce and somebody say who. You know that name.
Right. That's an internet. That is a universal. Now you can go to Pluto and that they would have heard Beyonce.
They'd be like,
Right.
Yeah. Don't know who she is too.
Right.
Yeah, come on now. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I just love it. What I love about it is I was talking about this with a friend. I was like, you know, they call her the queen and she's a Black woman. You know, we talk across the globe. Me and you and LJ were talking about this. You know, we were saying, you know, about Black women feeling like we're mistreated, and that does happen. But then there's these things like where you have a Black woman, literally so many people look up to this woman. They're not sleeping because they're waiting on her album to drop. Let me tell you, I had a friend that called me one time, Chris, and I love her. I love her to death, family. But she called me and it was like midnight and she was like, hey, girl, are you up? And I was like, no, girl, I'm kind of knocked out because I got work in the morning. She was like, Beyonce just announced that she's having a baby. That's when she dropped the mic, when she performed. I said, oh, okay, I'm happy, but it's just that impact. Literally, that's a true story. Right. Like, bitch, I don't know, Beyonce. Why are you calling me about this? But you know what? But
I was having a good sleep too.
Right, okay. Over here, like
that goes to how influential she is, and you know, like how it sheds light on how influential Michael Jackson was. Like you go to his concerts, and people were crying.
They're falling out
now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can name just a few figures in history that have quite that effect on people.
Right.
The Beatles were one of them.
Right.
Michael Jackson. Who? Somebody's just on my brain now. I can't think of it. But yeah, when you have people crying at your concerts, that means
I know what you mean. And it's just as beautiful. It's, and like I said, it's beautiful that it's Black people. It shows, you know, how magnetic, how influential, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I see. Yeah.
Audience. You know what I mean? Like not only do people know of her, does she have name recognition, but she has a her fan base is across the spectrum.
Right. She got albums in Spanish. I heard her singing Irreplaceable. She said, "Gotta say that I said, how? How you sing it just the same way? But what? Mm-hmm. She's singing Irreplaceable in Spanish. What? And you got people who don't even speak a lick of English, but they know these lyrics way better than I do.
Right.
You know, like how? Like that is so powerful, you know what I'm saying? But she's worked hard. That's that Virgo energy, you know, organized, straight, on point. Gotta get it right. Almost perfectionist. They stress themselves out over. Yeah. So, you know, a lot comes with that title. It's not to be taken lightly, you know. You don't see people like that every day, like you said, you know, they live for that, you know, she was born for it.
Yeah. And so I'm so happy to celebrate her birthday today.
Yeah.
Born 1981. So today that will make her 41, excuse me. That will make her 41 today.
Don't be trying to age that woman like that.
No, you gonna get me in trouble.
Nah, I just playing.
Had a beehive coming for you.
Right, okay, because they will. Look, they'll have your address before this airing is over.
Be all swelled up with bee stings and shit.
Right, okay.
But yeah, let's pivot on to let's pivot forward. I did want to introduce oldie but goodie. This was a viral video back in the day that was really funny. And I just wanted to introduce it back because sometimes we've been forgetting about the early days of the earliest days of the internet when shit was coming out and it was kind of novel. It was novel to see a funny video on TV.
Right.
Now it's, you know, it's kind of like funny in the moment, but you won't remember that shit in a couple
days. You want more.
Next thing. So I'm gonna play this clip and we're gonna talk about it a little bit. I think that shit is hilarious. I don't know about you, but
I'm like, what did I just see? What did I just watch?
So it's a German kid. He's probably like 12 or something like that, and he's playing a game on his computer. But the game.
Oh, it was still working?
No, it was freezing up. It was freezing up
because he was breaking the keyboard.
Yeah, well, yeah. that's how angry pubescent hormones can get you.
No, we're not gonna blame that on his hormones. We know what that was, or the lack thereof.
He was juiced when the game started working, though. He was juiced. He was pumped up.
Nah, he needs some type of what's them drugs called? He need a perk or something. Something to calm his ass down. That was a little bit too much. See, let me tell you. So look, if a black mama had been in the next room and hearing that, his little ass would have snatched his ass up from the mat, and swung that hand around and grabbed him by his shirt. He would have been picked up midair. That wouldn't have been happening. Right. What? You yelling up in my house like that? You know what? See, Dave? Let me tell you. Go ahead. Them the ones that show up at the schools.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Not to mention, my man is German, so he already got some of that take over the world type shit. You know what I mean? He got some of that in him.
Exactly. Okay. You know who his descendants is.
Right. So he might be somebody you need to watch out for. But just give him his game. You're celebrating at the end of that.
Right. Okay. I'm glad he all the way over there. He probably somewhere in a German jail today.
More than likely, yeah. Right. He could probably
Let me not speak over that boy life.
Right. You take that back.
Right.
So
wow.
Speaking of funny videos and funny comments and everything, earlier last week, our man Ari Spears was in the news for making some disparaging comments about Lizzo. He was asked a simple question, and he really took that shit all the way to the left by commenting on Lizzo's weight. And he's received a lot of flack about it. I think the specific joke that he gave was, "I can't get over the fact that she looks like the shit emoji." Now, I thought it was funny. Sorry, Lizzo fans, if please don't come after me. I can only anyway. But in the name of comedy, anything goes, right? For the most part, anything goes. Do you think this was out of bounds for him to comment on Lizzo's weight like that?
I think that we all have a social responsibility to uphold to some, to be aware. At the same time, he is a comedian. So, and, we discussed this earlier. It's they joke about everything. Do I think it was out of bounds? It's an unpopular opinion. No, I don't think he was out of bounds. Do I think that? I think in some sense it's irritating because we're in a world where it does feel like men always talk about women's bodies, and I think that that's where women are coming from more so, because I don't think it's just big girls that feel some kind of way or just her fans, because I could care less about Lizzo, but it's like, at what point are you going to find something else to talk about? It's easy to talk about her. But he made some good points. He said, "Hey, I look at myself and I talk about my damn self. I'm a hot ass mess naked." So, but she does put herself out there, and that's going to happen as an entertainer. People are going to say things. It's just that Ari Spears happens to be a person with a larger following. He's a comedian, so more people are going to see that. But a lot of people talk about her. I know people who ain't even comedians who say funny shit about her, and they're not getting slack for it. People are laughing because they in the house.
Yeah. I mean, to me, is it mean to say what he said? 1,000%.
It is.
1,000%. Is it rude? Hell yes, rude. Would I say it? No, I wouldn't say it. Would I say it behind doors? Maybe. Okay, but
right.
The reason why there's a difference between if I would say it publicly or if I would say it in behind closed doors is for one reason and one reason only. It's not because of the pushback. I don't give a damn about that.
Right.
But I would say it behind closed doors to protect that girl's feelings.
Right. And exactly.
I think that's a responsibility that you might be alluding to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it funny? Is it going to get some laughs? Yeah. But is it also going to hurt somebody? And I think as a society, that's the bar that we should be aiming for, is to protect people's feelings. Now, you could also argue that there's a cost to trying to spare people's feelings. You could spare some feelings for at the expense of a very much needed truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's also that side of things. If everybody's just smiling in this girl's face and not acknowledging the fact that hey, you might be bringing on some health risks by continuing to maintain at this weight. You know what I mean? Especially if it's coming with a bad diet. Now, we don't know her situation, and that's another thing that needs to be considered. Everybody tends to body shame big girls and big big dudes as well. By associating their weight with the assumption that they have a poor diet. And that's not always the case. A lot of times, I'm sure it probably is.
I was gonna say like 90% of the time.
But I don't know.
But I know what you mean. There could be there's other factors, and you're right. We don't really know. Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? What's that thing that a lot of people get? Thyroid condition that makes them blow up. You know, it could be that or any number of things. So we don't know that girl's situation. You know, we just don't know. There's too many unknowns for me to really weigh in on it. But I think the simple rule of thumb is we should be trying to protect each other's feelings as a society. Now, when it comes to comedians, and this is what we were talking about earlier, generally 90% of a comedian's material is about specific people. And so to say that, hey, we should be aiming not to hurt anybody's feelings ever in life, that's not something that's probably attainable. That's not.
Well, it's not possible at all, because I've hurt people's feelings and didn't even. Yeah. I thought I was being as gentle as possible. You know.
Right. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it creates a gray area if we say like we should be aiming to protect people's feelings, because what makes one person laugh might offend another, and so it's just hard to gauge that. We're going to constantly be walking on eggshells and constantly be just in suspension about what can be said and what can't. You know what I mean? We got the woke mob or the cancel culture that's kind of ruling this phase that we're in, and a lot of times it's justified, but sometimes it's just being real sensitive.
And it's just pure censorship.
Yeah, exactly. So there has to be a lot of that as well. And so gray areas, for me personally, gray areas are always harder to deal with rather than black and white issues. Either do it or don't do it. I need something like that, because the gray area shit, anybody can really argue their way out of it, or in advocacy or against somebody doing something. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I kind of have an issue with this. It's like, if she's going to be a public figure, that comes with the territory, with all that money.
And with her ass out. And with her ass out, she knows that she's breaking. Here's the thing. You're going to break barriers, but you're the person breaking the barriers. So you're going to be hit with the most stones first. It's like fighting on the battlefield. You're the first men in line. They're the most courageous, but they're going down, and they're going down for everybody else. So it's not to justify it, but that is what comes with the territory. Aside from that, just piggybacking off of what you said earlier, you know, Aries Spears, he did say some things, sure, that may have been mean, but a lot of times comedians, what I do love about watching comedy, and a lot of people will say this or listening to it, is that there's always a truth. They know how to tell an ugly truth and make you laugh, because it's that ugly. So behind all of that ugliness, and even I had to take time to think about it, I was like, he has never lied. We see women know this is some damn truth, where we see each other in passing, and skip the fact that yes, he got his own health issues, but this is true. It doesn't take away this truth. You will know that your homegirl has been eating too many ribs, too many chicken platters, too many fish and chips. You know that the bitch just had a crab boil birthday dinner last night and then went to Susie's Cupcakes after. You know that this girl is one hamburger away from, seriously, you know, because people find out about, and it's like, you could have said, hey, you know, we should start walking together. I love you. I had a friend that told me that. I used to be 100 pounds heavier. And I had a friend that told me, you're so beautiful. Like, if you want to work out, I'll work out with you, because I want to see you live. And I know that you can do it. Start working out. And they used to beat me over the head with it until I started doing it. And then I did it. And then I realized I'm such a good friend. That shit hurt my feelings at first. They would tell me, like, you can, come on now. You can do better. Be conscious of what you're eating. But we don't say that to each other. Yeah. We don't say that. You know, we'd be like, yeah, girl, you look good in that 4X. You know what I'm saying? Using all that material. No, you know you want to be healthier. You know you want your thighs to stop rubbing. You know that you want to stop sweating, and you know you want to get in certain crevices. You know you want to be able to ride that man with confidence. You know what I'm saying? And let's be honest, when you're a certain size, you're not doing that. You're not, because it takes more. That's just when you have more mass, it's going to be a lot more to, so it is truths behind what he said. It's just that people don't like it because he said it. Because what if Amy Schumer said it?
Oh, yeah. Okay. And that raises a very interesting point. I'm glad that you're shedding some light on that. Yeah, I think this would only have been acceptable from a Black comedian. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's there's racial undertones to saying she looks like a shit emoji. If a white comedian said that,
but
you know what I mean? I would be hot. You know what I mean? Let's be real. So this is something that only a Black comedian could have.
Yeah, you're right. And only a Black comedian would have thought to say that anyway.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, he wrong for that.
He it's.
Here I am laughing with you.
It's fucked up, but I thought it was funny. You know what
I need to walk away. We're gonna have to cut this clip.
Yeah. Aries Spears is wrong for that,
but yeah,
it was funny, and he's a shock comic. You could put him, Corey Holcomb, Dave Chappelle to a lesser degree in that category of shock comedy. Dave Chappelle to a much lesser degree because he's so much more than a shock comic. I wouldn't even say that he's a shock comic, but because he tends to offend people on a somewhat consistent basis.
Oh, he does. Yeah, I know what you mean. You know what I mean? He just does it so gracefully.
Yeah, he does it with a lot of intelligence behind it.
Yeah.
So, it kind of takes away from the shock aspect of it, but it's still in there.
Yeah.
One of my
he educates while he does it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So and you know what? And by that, he always has an out for controversy. You know what I mean? I like Aries Spears. Now, if Aries Spears was to say that same joke, but he was to add some intelligence behind it, like Dave, he probably wouldn't have all this controversy. Not to this magnitude of it.
Yeah, and maybe if he himself didn't have raccoon eyes and and didn't have his little,
it kind of softens the blow. If he was like,
that's true,
great looking guy, had everything going for him, it would be seen as him punching down.
It does soften the blow. That's true.
A lot of this is like, Lizzo, her response was like, she kind of just brushed him off his shoulders because really, everybody knows this nigga ain't in the best shape either.
Yeah.
So I really like if he was punching down on her, that would be one thing. But he's
and she had people come to her defense. People, let me tell you, women had no mercy, including myself. I deleted a couple of mine though. I was like, you know what, because I'm about to be a public figure and I got to watch myself. But I gotta watch what I say. They might dig up old,
Right. You know how to.
Yeah, and then I had some time to think about it too, and because we had discussed, I was like, I was fired up at the beginning of the week. I was like, because Black comedians always coming for Black women. And then you asked me, you said, okay, well, send me a compilation. I was like, well, he testing me. He trying to wrap it up in a nice bow tie though. So then I did some research, right? And I did not see anything about any stand-up comedians, any Black stand-up comedians just deliberately going out to
attack
belittle Black women. Yeah, but what I will say is the characters from the movies. I will say that to me, that's a little bit indirect. I feel like, Martin Lawrence has done it. Eddie Murphy has done it. Tyler Perry has done it. Vin Rhames has done it, even though he was a transsexual. It's a few other people. So I just, in that sense, I'm like, okay, indirectly, but do I feel like it has just been a deliberate thing? No, even with Chris Rock, I don't feel like that. I feel like he went after Jada because the bitch was easy to go after. You know what I'm saying? But I don't feel like it was a deliberate attack, like, oh, let me just go attack this Black woman. I don't feel like that, but I feel like we feel like that because we're Black women. And so we feel the pressures from everything else. And then you have the movies with the characters of them playing the big mamas. You'll never see them playing no big white woman.
That's true.
No big Hispanic one. How come y'all don't put that on and put when you want to play around with the hair? Since we don't have that kind of hair, don't you want to play around with that? You know what I'm saying? Don't you want to flip some tortillas and be something different?
Right.
Why you always? But you know they portray what they see. Who else is gonna mimic a Black woman better than a Black woman? Other than a Black woman?
Yeah, like nobody. I don't know. This gets into a lot of different topics, but
I know.
like just like we don't want no white man or anybody else for that matter jumping into our skin playing us as a character.
Right.
You know, we probably don't do that to them because there'll be some issue. You know what I mean? But I will say that I've seen white comics dress up as female characters and kind of do their impersonations of them. So,
but like our Hollywood men though, like our Black, like they have literally, like, wasn't there a Big Mama 2, Big Mama 3, Madea? Oh, yeah. I mean, Tyler Perry literally has a whole. I don't even know. Really, he ain't even Tyler Perry to me. That man is just Madea at this point. Madea Perry. That's Mabel.
Madea is his actual person. Yeah. Tyler Perry is the
actor.
Tyler Perry is the character. Right.
Okay, then I know that delves off, but I haven't heard I couldn't pull anything or see anything where I've heard Black comedian men.
Well, somebody alluded to Chris Rock being guilty of that, and I didn't go and research it all. But they were saying like in his specials he kind of picks on Black women, but from my memory, and I'm not a Black woman, so it wouldn't stick with me as much as it might for them. But I feel like if comics generally talk about females, they don't necessarily say Black females. They talk about women in general. Although there are exceptions, but I don't think it's to the point where it's like they're honing in on Black females all the time.
I've never heard him do that. I've watched a lot of his comedy. Yeah, I've seen enough to have said, even as a Black woman, I've never seen him. So maybe they took it indirect because he was married to a Black woman.
Yeah,
I think
you did mention the fact that big girls get talked about. When it's Black comics, they typically they point out big Black public figures to talk about, and they never really share that sense of comedy with big white public figures.
Yeah.
So, you might have a point there. I haven't really heard any Black comics talk about Roseanne or I don't know. Who else is big?
That's what I'm saying, but it's a lot of them out there. Who's Paula Deen? Paula Deen was that little chef bitch. That bitch big.
Well, who else? Jokes back in the day. But not because of her weight. Not because
because of the bitch pies, right? Something that she could, and I think I don't know.
There's Christy Metz, who's the really big actress from This Is Us. If you haven't seen it, then you wouldn't know. I don't think she's in anything else, but she's bigger than Lizzo. She's
really
a big woman. Yeah. Plus size.
There's actually a few. I just don't know their names, but there's actually a few. One of them, but you don't hear them going off like that. Even I'm not even trying to be funny. Okay, now granted, there is a difference. Like, okay, and this is where I feel like this comes into play.
Meghan Trainor, she's a big girl, ain't she?
Who?
No, my tripping. Meghan Trainor, she ain't Lizzo big, but she got some.
I don't know who that is. I'll have to see.
She's one that things like, I'm all about that bass, no treble.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think it really has to do with how you present yourself, though, because I've never heard anyone say, "Oh, Jill Scott, that big bitch, shaking her ass everywhere."
Shedding light on their podcast. Who was it? Somebody was shedding like DL Hughley or somebody pretty big, and they were saying like, "Yeah, Jill Scott, I would get with all day, and she's a plus size girl."
Right.
So it is about how you carry yourself. I think she carries herself very, very elegantly, very queen-like. You feel me?
Yeah, and she still has that sexual energy, though. You still can tell that she can throw it back. I'm scared of Jill.
Right.
Okay, when she did her little microphone, like she even did something like that. So she shows you, like, yeah, I'm a little freak. You know what I'm saying? Because you've never heard anyone call Lizzo ugly.
Right, because she's not.
She's not.
Right.
But you know, when you're wearing these little see-through things, and
exactly, she's presenting herself like a teenager or a very young adult, and we got to keep in mind she's 34. You know what I mean?
Really?
So, but part of that is her brand.
I didn't know that.
Her brand, her audience is probably 25 and below.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would argue her audience is mid-20s and below.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she's trying to brand herself accordingly to attract those people, which is going to, you know, result in her twerking at a fucking Lakers game with her ass all the way out. You know what I mean? And so, in my opinion, you know, this is just a subjective opinion.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be a plus size girl like that, to her magnitude, dressing like that can only be done by certain body types. You know what I mean? And maybe she's going to shift that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe she will shift that. Maybe we will come to agree collectively, like, oh yeah, that's sexy. Like, you know what I mean? But as of right now, I don't think very many people think that. Girls or guys.
No.
You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. Like, and this is just taking it on a scientific level. I love to go here. I read a book once upon a time that described like the nature underlying between men and women and how we're attracted, some of the things that make us attracted to one another. And people always associate being slim with being healthier. Doesn't necessarily mean that's the case. But if you see somebody and they have color in their skin, their pupils are like the natural white, you subconsciously you're attracted to somebody who you deem is healthy to you. So no, dancing around in that is never going to be attractive when you know that what's inside their body is clogged cholesterol and underlying. Because how, like, really think about it. I'm not trying to be funny, but if you're like, and this has nothing to do with dating, but just an example, like someone's like, dang, I do find her attractive. I want to date her and I want to have children with her, to have that weight and then to carry a child.
Yeah. Right.
So underlying, at the end of the day, yeah, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and yeah, you're breaking thresholds, but then you also need to think about, what are you telling these other people? What are you showing these other people? They think it, because I mean, it is nice to see a lot of body acceptance with women. Like, yeah, I love my size and this and that, but I ain't gonna lie, it makes me say, well, damn, I shouldn't be so ashamed to show my little fupa. I'm seeing these bitches with 3 and 4 stomachs, where they little belly chains and everything. You know what I'm saying? More than a fupa, they got a boopa and a koopa. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, though, you know, it's like, yes, you're beautiful and all of that, but it's like that fupa and the koopa and the boopa, that shit is covering your coochie. That man ain't even getting to that pussy.
Blocking access.
You know what I'm saying? So like, let's really, you know, so those are the underlying things. And it's kind of hard for a man to say those things, because now we're in it's weird. This is an era where people are sensitive, but they not. And men can't really say anything like what I just said. Because if you had said the shit that I just said, your ass would be hanging up on the cross right now. You know what I'm saying? But it's true. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like that scientific example that you brought up, because they do say, like, when I was taking classes and I was taking a specific class that broke down like human traits and whatnot, and what it signifies or what it can signify. They were saying like, a lot of people with acne, like I'm talking about a lot of acne, that alludes to a health issue.
Yeah.
So it like what we find attractive and what we don't find attractive is much more. It can be much more than just aesthetics alone.
It is.
A lot of times we're naturally geared to recognize health versus unhealth, or healthy people.
Yeah. Because that's how you mate. That's how you mate. You know what I'm saying? You go for the strongest. A lion not gonna go out and say, okay, well that bitch, her teeth look wiggly. She can't get no meat. I don't know how to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's the same thing. So you see a woman like Rihanna, and you look at her, and you're like, ooh, I like the way her curves are. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, men like curves and all that, but you still need to take care of yourself, because that's also the science behind it. If you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of nobody else. So you can look at somebody and see, okay, you're not, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we don't know the underlying conditions, but I know she's not missing a meal. She definitely getting the best of the butters. They got the cow right there on the farm in the back of the mansion.
Right.
Somebody churning that butter. Oprah chef. They got the same chef. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? She's a beautiful woman, but that's going to come with the territory. You want to shake your ass, and you know that you're a big girl. And I hope one day that Lizzo lives her truth, because I don't think that she's living it, to be honest. That's an unpopular opinion, but I actually think she's unhappy. You can't be happy with them thighs rubbing together. I was unhappy. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here sweating, and all I'm doing is standing. And it's winter.
70. It's only 70.
It's 64. You know what I'm saying? So I hope that she finds that release for herself. So, you know what I'm saying? So then these other bitches follow the trend too. Like, damn, Lizzo. I promise you, I just know we're going to hear like a few years from now that woman has dropped some weight.
Yeah, 100%. I think so too.
Yeah.
Think about Adele. Think about all the way Adele lost.
Right. She did.
I don't know if she got surgery or something like that, or if it was natural, but
yeah,
she looks.
I mean, she didn't cap it off.
Yes, yeah.
You know, she looks good. She recognized it. You know, she was a beautiful big girl too. That's another one. People wasn't calling her a pig and oinking.
And that's true. That's true. But she also wasn't presenting herself. Like, it's all about presentation.
Right. That bitch had on whole capes.
Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but again, it alludes to their brand.
Yeah.
Adele, very adult brand. Jill Scott, very adult brand. Lizzo,
yeah,
proper brand.
You are so correct about that.
There's implications to that too, because I'm all about the kids. You feel me? Chris love the kids.
Yeah. Oh, so, I love that. Yeah.
So it does concern me, whoever's influencing the younger generations, the younger populations, the younger audiences, how they're influencing them. And so
yeah.
I love the fact Lizzo's advocating for body positivity. 1000% love it. But are you also teaching my kids to dress up like this and to be twerking all in public and shit like that?
Because if my daughter is overweight, I don't want her ass coming to school with a hat. I don't want her setting herself up.
Exactly.
No, you need to
set up for some major disappointments. Because I don't care how progressive we want to think we are as a society, we still got we still got a lot of assholes out here. You know what I mean? That will put egg all in people's face if they dressing like this girl was dressing at the Laker game.
Okay, you know what? I did not see it. I'm gonna have to see it, but I just picture. I don't know if you know. Remember? Yeah, show me that. Let me see this. Let me see this. What she had on, a thong and some nipple covers?
I mean, she might as well. That would have been probably better than what she came.
Oh my god!
To be honest, I mean, here.
Oh, I'm scared. Okay, let me see. Go on ahead.
Come on, computer. Don't freeze on me now. Hold on.
Don't fail me now.
There it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to see this.
Okay, my computer is freezing. All right, do you see that? Let me know when you see it, cause.
Oh, I see it. Okay. It's yeah. Oh my god. Oh.
Mm-hmm. It's a weird outfit, and just in general.
Yeah.
To me, it's not a good outfit.
Yeah, it's not even that she shouldn't have. It's like anybody who would have had this outfit on.
Yeah, exactly. Kim Kardashian could have been wearing this, and I think it would have been not.
Yeah.
It's just it's literally a circular hole cut out the back of her romper or.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. It's not a good
look. That I see, and it. So the other part of it is the outfit was just tacky as fuck.
Yeah, right. You know
and
what I mean?
it kind of looked crazy because there wasn't even no cheeks hanging out. So it's just like that's the other part about it.
Yeah, so it was just a poor choice.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was the outfit. So then we need to fire the stylist. Well, that's the other thing. She needs to have some stylists that really got her back.
Boom. Yeah.
You could be big and beautiful. Good. So it's really not even about. So yeah.
Big girls can look good. I didn't see them. You know what I mean? Many that are big, not just big, but big, and they pull it off. And Lizzo's not with her resources. She needs to be doing better.
Yeah, it's like you can still look sexy and do all that, but you don't have to try and dress like the rest of the Fashion Nova skanks.
Exactly.
You don't have to do that because you're not in that category. You can't do it. I hate to be mean, but you can't. Some of them can't do it either. The ones that shape just like teeth. But the thing is, well, that's another discussion. But yeah, so all in all, I agree with you though, Chris. I don't think that at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, we cannot. We can't censor. There's being a comedian, you have that freedom of speech. And he said what he said, but guess what? Can't nobody protect him from what other people are saying about his ass. And he done probably had it actually worse than what he said about her, to be honest. People done probably, you know, them Lizzo fans was like, I hope your ass choke up a pork chop, nigga.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he done probably got little death threats.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And for me, as many issues as I have with our society, the American society, and capitalism and whatnot, one thing that I do very much love about it is that the market will determine what's hot and what's not. You know what I mean? So we don't if you don't agree with Aries Spears, there's one very, very good way to make sure or contribute to him not doing that shit again. Don't go to his shows. Don't watch his videos. Don't contribute to his pockets. The market will always determine what's hot and what's not. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Don't just tweet about it. Talk with your dollars. That's
right.
You can talk.
Because money does talk, and you will hear them apologies. Them apologies come right after, but I don't think he has anything to apologize about.
I mean, yeah, right. But the people that do have a problem with him, don't try to, inflict physical harm on him. Hurt him where it hurts, in his pocket.
Yeah, if you really feel like that, you know what I'm saying?
Feel inclined.
Yeah. But it just made people mad because it spoke the truth too.
Yeah.
And the truth hurts, and then it can't, but yeah, you're absolutely right about what you said. I couldn't agree more. I wanted to ask you, I hate to delve off, but when you said capitalists, there was a lot of things going around. I think I saw a piece of the interview, but people are talking about a Jay-Z interview. Did you hear about it?
No.
Where he was speaking about Black capitalists. So maybe, we'll have to touch on that on the next, but I have to, honestly, I want to know your take on it. I want to know your take on it. So I'm going to definitely send that to you so we can touch on that, because it sparked a lot of people are on the fence about what he said, but it was basically kind of touching on the lines of, hey, don't be mad at the Black people. He said basically, there's an underlying tone of people that are mad at Black people who have made it, Black people who have money. He is something along the lines of not feeling guilty about having money, about being a Black capitalist. And I think that term was used in there. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get it all wrong, but it was along that line, just to give you an idea. So that reminded me of that. Yeah.
I'm all about economics out here.
Yes. I figured you would want to,
because it's important. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Hell yeah. Before we pivot away from this Aries Spears thing, we do need to touch on the fact that Aries Spears is not only in the news lately because of Lizzo, but because of a video that just resurfaced from, I think, 2013, highlighting, or not highlighting, but just depicting Aries Spears playing a character that is essentially molesting his sister's kid. You know what I mean? That's the premise of the sketch. The sister is played by Tiffany Haddish, and so she's getting a lot of flack as well for this. Not only through the court of public opinion, but I believe that lawsuits have been brought up against both of them for, I don't know if the charge is sexual abuse or what. I'm not sure. And to be real, I really didn't even see the entire video, unfortunately. Yeah. But you know, the gist of it, because I was having spotty Wi-Fi issues. The gist of it is Aries Spears is giving the kid googly eyes the whole video, right? And then like there's a lot of like winking to the boy. At one point, after a couple of visits, because it takes place over maybe a week of him babysitting or whatever. At one point in the video, the boy is winking back.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so it's very silly in that respect. You know what I mean? When the boy's in on it, I think that kind of lifts it from reality a little bit. But again, I haven't seen the entire video, so I really am not in the position to comment fully on it. But yeah, they're under heat for this video. Do you think what have you heard anything about it? What have you heard? I just recently saw something on my feed about it earlier today.
I did. I heard along the same lines of what you were explaining in the video. I went through when I first heard about the lawsuit being held against him and Tiffany Haddish. And I think it is something with having to do with sexual abuse when I was reading the headlines, which I'm like, I don't know how that's going to go. I know it could be really offensive, but I don't know if nothing actually happened. But I heard that he was looking at the boy with lustful eyes. There were some scenes where she was picking up the child from the school in like panties and underwear. And, you know, I didn't see the video, but I'll say this. It's cringy, sounds cringy. Yeah. It's not anything that I would do in acting, even if it were acting. But again, I also don't know the context of it. So what if they were bringing awareness to it? An ugly truth, maybe. I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit. Yeah. What if they were bringing some kind of awareness to sexual abuse through this sketch? It is a serious topic, and it is something that happens often, especially with families. So I can see how it can be really offensive, but I'm like, y'all got the nerve to get offensive, and y'all still got family members in the house and that did a whole bunch. So it's just kind of hard to, you know, it's easy for people to get angry, but these same issues exist right there in the household. These same people doing the same thing. So you could be offended by it, but we watch so many other movies where they do the same thing. They just, Hollywood is made up of that. It's so many sex trafficking movies. And I mean, I know that they were making light of this, but people have just seen way more gruesome things. I mean, you got real life politicians y'all voting for politicians who's touching children all the time. If y'all really want to get down to the nitty gritty about it, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, y'all don't do this to the white molesters, you know? It was quick to lock up R. Kelly, but what about these Jeffrey Epsteins and the you know what I'm saying? It's real life people doing it. They really touching, you know?
Yeah. But in respect to this sketch being, I guess, created, produced, and broadcast, I do feel like it can be problematic when we make light of situations that are very real, very traumatic, very problematic for society.
Yes.
But at the same time, like you're saying, a lot of sketch material, a lot of art in general, whether it's especially in comedy, sheds light on things that are pretty horrible in order to bring awareness to the situation, to the issue, in order to have us think more critically about the issue. Sometimes sometimes it serves no better purpose than to just, I guess, help to alleviate the pain of certain issues sometimes. So it really does matter in my mind, in my book, how tastefully it's done. I think where the line should be drawn, if there is a line to be drawn, is that it should start and end when it's promoting children, specifically children being taken advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's just something I think,
because that's what makes it really disgusting. Why are you I'm gonna be honest, like, yeah, I wouldn't do it. Why? Yeah. Unless you're really bringing light to it. Right. Why? What can really be, and if you're bringing light to it, there should just be no joke about it, because honestly, that's what victims of sexual abuse, they be so confused because they like it and they hate it at the same time, because it feels pleasurable, but they're mentally fucked. So when you have a video of a child winking their eye back, it's just not okay. It happens to too many children on a daily basis. So you have to ask, what was the purpose?
Right.
What was the purpose? What were you going to do with this? If you can't justify it, if you can't sit and watch it and not cringe, you probably shouldn't have even did it. That has to be cringy.
That's a good point. Yeah. Now that I'm kind of looking into the video a little more in depth, he might have been playing Bill Cosby.
Oh my God.
Definitely gives this whole controversy much needed context. You know what I mean? To me, at least.
To me, if he's talking about Bill Cosby, that character too.
Yeah, if he's playing Bill Cosby molesting anybody, really, it's more tasteful than it is to just, it's some random fucking.
But a child, though, why did y'all have, and whose child played in this?
Yeah, it was some 8-year-old who was being carried by Tiffany Haddish like he was a 2-year-old. That part was kind of weird.
That's
he's a big boy. You know what I mean?
Why are y'all playing? Like, it's confusing, and I think it's really confusing. Like, we the Black people want to know, because we don't even. That's something we don't.
Yeah,
that's another kind of. That ain't no, like, y'all couldn't talk about nothing else. There wasn't nothing else creative to.
Well, I mean, you do have to keep in mind that this was in 2013 that I think the video first came out. 2014 is actually the date I'm looking at, and I don't know if this is the original source of the video.
Maybe they filmed it in 13 and released it.
Yeah, and so this was before Cosby really had a lot of heat on him about molestation and rape, essentially. So very much like Hannibal Buress, who was the comic that really brought Bill Cosby's allegations to a huge public.
Did he really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
He got famous off of talking about Bill Cosby out in the open, whereas before a lot of people were talking behind closed doors about it. But nobody was going to say it in public. For one, because he's a very powerful man with all the money he has, and for two, you could argue that, like, oh, these claims are unsubstantiated because I don't know anybody. I haven't heard this from somebody firsthand. It's all like, well, he said, she said, etc. So
yeah,
he was definitely.
I still kind of feel like that. I mean, it could be possible that some people were, but I don't know.
I think he 77 allegations, which at a certain point, it's hard. It gets harder and harder to deny. And I'm not saying for one way or another if he's guilty or innocent, although I guess I could weigh in on that. But with that many allegations, it's hard to deny. It's hard to deny. And so anyway, Honorable Burris first brought that out, and so he was applauded for shedding light on that. You know what I'm saying? Because for the first time in a long time, those women who were allegedly taken advantage of by Bill Cosby felt heard and felt legitimized. Their claims became more legitimized. And one could argue that Aries Spears might have been trying to go for the same thing. He might have been trying to like bring light to this man and those allegations that have been coming against him. You know, maybe. Behind closed doors.
Oh, but I'm like, whose kid? The kid just, the child throws it off.
Yeah.
Why ain't y'all do y'all? And then an 8-year-old boy on top of that.
I mean,
it's not okay.
Right.
It's not okay, you know, because don't nobody want to fathom that happening to their child.
That's true, but like you said earlier, like it is important to shed light on reality, things happening.
Yeah.
In reality that might not be getting talked about.
That's true, because it is happening all the time. You know what I'm saying? It really is. So I think that's a part of it, having that perspective. I don't know. I want to hear more of what they have to say. Tiffany Haddish did address it, and she wrote, I don't know if it was a tweet or what, but she was saying that she was like, you know, I wish I could tell you guys more. She was like, you know, in retrospect, I wish I hadn't done. It's kind of along that lines, you know, but I can't say much more than that. But, you know, when this is all blown over, after this case is done and everything, I will be happy to explain more. She was kind of vague, but sound like she was a little bit regretful, but I don't know. There's just not much to be said. And it's like, do you feel like that because it's a surface? Like, because like you had to learn scripts, you had to go over this, like somebody was standing there filming it. Filming is not an unconscious, like, you know, very well the character that you're tapping into. People are telling you, I want you to be in this kind of demeanor. I want you to act this kind of way. This is the context of this. So you know what the fuck you was acting in. So I want to know, but you know, she can't say anything now, but I'm just like, what's the lawsuit? How do you do that? You know,
in order for there to be a legitimate lawsuit, I'm just guessing that somebody must have touched somebody on the video, in the video or whatever. That's what I'm guessing. In order for the lawsuit to be legitimate, you can't claim that molestation or sexual abuse, like the implied sexual abuse, is not enough to have.
That's what I'm saying. Unless something really went down, and unless they got some cut scenes, you know, they it gets deep.
Yeah. So, you know, Aries Spears under fire. He's in the hot seat right now. He's about to get out of here.
What you get.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's one thing. Karma exists.
That's what you said. You said that it'll happen in itself. It'll unfold.
Exactly.
But it's crazy how that all correlated. I'm like, ooh, somebody after him now after this? Is somebody?
Well, and that's generally what happens is if you piss off a group of people, those group of people are going to start digging into your past. They're going to start to dig into your old tweets and everything so that they can have something against you. And I think that this is probably what that is.
Right. I'm like, he's been unproblematic this whole time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like you said, you know, delete your old tweets and make sure your history is squeaky clean, because will come for you.
They will come for you.
You get out of line.
Okay, they gonna dig it up. Leave it to Black Twitter.
Right. Real shit. So let's pivot on to the climate. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody is aware of this. I think it is. As blacksmiths, I think we do need to have a responsibility of being well informed, although that is difficult because these days you don't know what source is telling you the truth and what source is telling you bold-faced lies. But we over here at the Bronze, we try to do our best to bring light to some issues that might be swept up under the rug. And I just want to give some love, send some love over to our people in Pakistan. You know, they're going through right now. There was a catastrophic monsoon. The World Health Organization, I think, put it at Category 3 catastrophe, which is the highest It's the highest ranking of catastrophes.
Wow.
From news reports that I've seen, has said that a third of the country is underwater. You know what I mean? If that was America, that would be like from California here all the way to, I would guess, probably Colorado. You know what I mean? Underwater. It's that bad.
Wow.
It said 3 million children have been affected by this. All types of disease and drowning and starvation is happening as a result of this. You know what I mean? And we live here in America, so a lot of times when stuff happens internationally, we're just so uninformed about it, and maybe even if we are informed about it, we're kind of apathetic. But you know, this is a major catastrophe that's happening, and it's. I mean, they're saying that in recorded history, nothing like this has happened in that country.
Wow.
So it lends itself to the climate change that the whole globe is experiencing, and it sheds light on how bad things can get out of nowhere, just like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So we should all be just aware. There's a lot of back and forth argument about climate change, if it exists, if it doesn't, if it's as bad as projections are saying it is, if it is. You know, there's a lot of argument or a lot of inconsistency in between different people. But I think stuff like this gives evidence to the fact that, hey, there is change in global climate change happening. And we got to really just be on our P's and Q's going forward about what we're going to do about it. And if those solutions aren't just going to create more problems, because I know that's also a conversation. The Mississippi, in Jackson, Mississippi, the capital of the state, that whole county is shut down because, well, not shut down, but they all suffered a huge flood that affected the water plant, one of the main water plants in the county, and because of that, the water pumps ended up being compromised, and they are no longer working. So people don't have running water in that whole county. It affects about 180,000 people, 80% of which are Black. And so, you know, that's very relevant to our audience out here, the Blacksmiths, because, you know, we love our people, and when we see something like this hurts, especially. And a lot of people are saying that there are some racial implications or racial undertones, racist undertones, to why the water pumps in the county hadn't been maintenance, because this has been an issue that people have been aware of in that county for a long time, but it was never addressed. Apparently, they got about $50 million in federal assistance specifically for their county to do maintenance and to allocate, and that money, none of it was allocated towards, you know, the infrastructure. So, but they have a Black mayor. They have a Black governor, not a Black governor, but it's a Black mayor in that county. So, you know, the racist undertones as to why they hadn't been on their shit kind of dissipates, knowing that they had a Black mayor for about 4 years now. And before him, not too many years before he became mayor, was another Black mayor. And I think that was his father, or he was related to him. They both have the last name Lumumba. I think Lumumba's the wrong name, but they have the same name.
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah, it's terrible. And you know, just I was looking to see what links I could find where I could give some assistance. It's just really hard to know where your assistance is going unless you're actually delivering this to the people. But there shouldn't even be issues like that, you know, in this day and time. You know, I saw a meme that it was like, okay, you know, give 13 billion to Ukraine, give this much to this place, give this much to this place. Jackson, Mississippi, we don't have anything for you. How do you not have the funds to provide clean water? It is, you can actually filtrate water in a very natural way. It's not, it takes manpower, but the regular man together, if we assist each other, we could build a natural aqueduct. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, people, we are so reliant upon these systems, you know, these mayors, these politicians. It make you think, what other ways do I need to take this into my hands? There are ways that we can take these things into our hands now. I'm not saying them per se. I'm speaking in general now, too, as far as like the climate change goes. There's absolutely climate change happening. And it's because of how we're saturated in certain parts of the earth, but then other parts of the earth are just completely abandoned. It's an unbalanced ecosystem. We have all these gases emitted into the atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? All these unnatural gases. We have all kinds of air pollutants that are meshing in with our atmosphere, our stratosphere. It's definitely affecting Earth, you know. Digging up oil constantly, the way that things are mined for and resourced for, it's because we're in such a consumerism capitalist society. We're not even using Earth's resources. We're really wasting them. Not just wasting them, just having all this surplus and then you're just discarding of it. You know what I mean? So it's just like how the human body, how when the human body is full of fat and cholesterol is high and it needs to release, you know, like we were saying, acne, where you can release some of the pus, some of the infection, you know what I'm saying? Boils on people's bodies, you know what I'm saying? Different diseases. The earth goes through the same thing. The earth has to release pressure, you know? So you have these different things. I'm saying that California is in a drought. You know, we should never be without water, period, anywhere. Because it comes from the ground, just like electricity comes from the ground. How can you run out of something that's ever flowing? It recycles just like our body. We have blood. How come we don't ever run out of blood? Now the blood's not coming from somewhere else.
Right.
How do we continue to have that supply? We recycle. But we're not recycling, we're wasting. And it's unnatural, you know. There's no reason why those people should be without water, without clean water. They were telling them that when you take a shower, close your mouth. Why are you telling that to people? And let's be honest, if we were somewhere in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills, they would make sure that those issues are fixed quickly. So this is a matter of, what are y'all trying to do? Is there something underneath this land that y'all know about and y'all are trying to export Black people out of this area? Because we always happen to be on rich land somehow. We always, and they don't never really tell the truth behind it. This whole little water issue could be a way to push people out.
100%.
How y'all don't have clean water? Come on, how y'all don't, something like clean? It don't make sense. You know, y'all know people don't know their geography though. You know what I'm saying? You know, you got these monsoons washing out. I think that, let me tell you, there's HAARP, which is a man-made weathering system by the US government. So who's to say that they not they are manipulating this shit too. A lot of these places that suffer be having resources that they don't want us to know about.
You know? I'm on board with that fully. You know what I mean? Like there's always an agenda that's that our government in particular is going according to, and you can argue that wealthy, rich entities all over the world are trying to make come to life. You know, agendas that they're following very, very intently, very connivingly. But you know,
because that's an emergency.
Well, yeah, and so I believe that the federal government, I believe Biden sent FEMA, infamous FEMA, down there to help out. I don't know how much that's going to help out, but you know, it didn't take as long as George Bush took to send FEMA down to Louisiana for Hurricane Katrina. But it is very reminiscent of how when there's major catastrophes in terms of floods in particular, but like natural disasters, it always seems to affect us specifically.
Yeah, Flint.
Right. Exactly. Another issue.
How y'all not have water?
Yeah. So
I can't imagine.
In the richest country in the world. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about the lack of resources or the lack of technology to make these things happen or to alleviate these issues. At the end of the day, it's about the lack of concern. You know.
Yeah, care, concern, pocket of fucks.
Right. Yeah. The lack of
none fucks. To give.
Right. We have a lack of fucks in our American government.
Yeah.
You know, that's per usual. So we send out, you know, our hearts and love to the people of Jackson, Mississippi.
Yes.
You know, this happened early last week, so I hope by now there's been some alleviation from that, and all we can do is really hope for the best and try to get on some elected people's ass about doing better going forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is why we have these discussions, Chris, you know, like, and we talk with our blacksmiths, because some people, as crazy as this is, some people don't even know about this.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so I really want,
because they don't want to touch that in the media.
Yeah,
they're not going to touch on that. They're going to tell you about the puppy that just got adopted. Right. They always say, and little Ray just got adopted. What?
Yes. Speaking of one story in particular that's been getting a lot of media coverage is I don't know her name off the top of my head, but it's a white woman's body was found. She had gone missing for a number of days, and she was getting a lot of media coverage over the past couple of days because they discovered her body and apprehended the suspect.
Oh,
but right, yeah, but that I know that was an issue that was being talked about a couple of years ago. Was when Black and people of color people end up going missing. They don't get national coverage like they do with white women. When white women are abducted, which happens to all people across the spectrum, but white women get the brunt of the media attention. You know, it's
right.
It's very biased. Very
right. Well, it's because ain't nobody stealing their organs. That's why. Because the Black people that's missing is their organs are being sold on the black market.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, because Black people's organs have the most concentrated melanin, the liver, the kidneys, and the middle of the eardrum, which is why we are so in tune to sound. That's why we have so much rhythm. That's why babies be on point. The most saturated melanin is in between the ears, the liver, and the kidneys. And they sell the organs. And on top of that, Black men have the highest concentrated melanin in their organs. So yeah, there was a story about a football player. Did you hear about him? And this high school boy, they found him. They couldn't find him for days. His parents found him somewhere in the school with his organs carved out of his body. That didn't hit that, and they barely touched on that. It's still people today. Like, we need to shed more light on that because they're not sharing that. But they will cover, you know, a white woman who's been missing. And chances are that bitch was nosy. And her ass is the reason she's missing. The bitch was probably lost in a cornfield. But, you know, don't let...
Well, we don't know that.
You know what? Forgive me.
Joy's going ham than the motherfucker right now. But I get what you're saying, and I get where you're going. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that story. Of the high school boy you said. Did that just happen? When did that happen?
This happened years ago. This happened many years ago, but people, the media didn't cover it. And even with the Black women, you know, they had the missing Black girls. Those women got sex trafficked, and then they take their organs. You know, we had we hear about the story about Henrietta Lacks and about how her cell was used. I don't even think that woman really had cancer. They supposedly said that the woman had cancer. You know what I'm saying? We know it's a whole bunch of Henrietta Lacks walking around here. You know, she ain't the only one with the Eve gene. So, like you said, the media wants to cover this chick who got lost going to her boyfriend's house. You know what I'm saying? Or she decided to be one of the bitches in the scary movie and go see what the man with the mask was doing. You know, and then you have us, you know, getting snatched up left and right, children as well. And that's not even being talked about. They're just totally skipping over that. Meanwhile, it's still happening. And now they're just being outright with it. Now they have the police helping. Oh, we just gonna kill this nigga. There's our organs. There's our melanin that we can sell at what? I forgot how much melanin costs. It's expensive. It's like $350 a gram. Yeah. So that's what they doing. That's why they not covering that, but they don't want us to know that. But I'm gonna share it with the blacksmiths.
Yeah, that's right.
Today.
That's right. That's why.
So when y'all want to wonder why,
that's why we have this, is to inform our community and the allies of the community. So
sorry, Chris. I got mad. My face probably red.
Nah, you good. You good, sis.
Yeah.
Hear me? Can you see me? I know I'm having a little technical
you were
difficulties.
I can hear you. I can't really see you, but I can still hear you sounding fresh on the mic.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna have to just go forward because I don't know what's going on right now, but I'll try to troubleshoot it as we go.
That's fine.
What I wanted to ask you a question that had to do with you know what? I wanted to bring up a point. I want to bring up the point of a lot of people are encouraged to register themselves as donors in the event that they do die in the hospital, on the surgery table, in the operation room, to become organ donors. And you know what? I want to do the right thing. Seemingly, what the right thing was to do was sign up for that. And this was, you know, when I first got my license. But as I got a little older, I started thinking more, just more deep in that situation. And I feel like what you're bringing up backs my point up. I took my name off that donor list.
I heard that.
It only, I mean, you always got to look at on the other side of things, and which is the tricky part about it, because you have to think deep, and you have to think, you just have to play 3-dimensional chess rather than just 2-dimensional, you know what I mean? Rather than just checkers. And so when you talk about signing yourself up to give organs away in the event that you die, you have to think about who's incentivized to not keep you alive on the operating table if you do end up in the hospital. You know what I mean? And if they do see that like you are an organ donor, that then incentivizes a doctor or a medical establishment that knows that, hey, you might be worth, you might be more valuable to them dead because of these organs that they could sell. I assume, I don't know the donor system, so I don't want to speak inaccurately, but I would assume, this is just an assumption, that they sell those to patients. So like if I need a kidney, you know what I mean, and I'm on a list to get a kidney transplant, I think it might be my insurance that pays for it, but I think that I'm paying the hospital for that kidney transplant. Not only the doctor's time, but for the organ itself. Therefore, somebody's getting paid off of your organs, and that incentivizes them to try a little less hard to keep you alive if you end up in the surgery room. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think we just got to be aware of the implications of seemingly innocuous things like signing up for stuff like that. Because given what Joy is telling us now about the higher concentration of melanin in Black organs, definitely sweetens the pot for anybody who gets their hands on those things. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a whole Black market. it's a whole black market, and it's like what you said. I remember when I was growing up, my mom used to tell me, she was like, don't you ever put your name on the donor list. She's like, because if something happens, you get in a car accident or anything like that, they're going to let your ass die. And she told me that when I was real little too, and it just always stuck with me. And then when I got older, I got to see, and then I would even speak with people, just becoming more conscious and aware of my blackness and learning who I was. You know, I've even talked to people and I've heard interesting things. I spoke to a nurse once who told me, she was like, yeah, when I was in nursing school, she was like, everybody likes to choose the African American cadavers, those bodies to do work on. And I said, why? She was like, because those are the only organs, those bodies are the only ones where the organs still have their color after they pass.
Oh, interesting.
Black people's organs will keep the color of the organ for a long time. Other races, their shit is gray. And I believe it. So it's like, you already know what there's just a very different biochemical makeup for us having that component in our body. And a lot of people think it just has something to do with pigment, but it is a lot of the reason why we do, going back to the media, why we're not covered in these cases where we're missing, where things are happening, where people are getting sex trafficked, because there's so much incentive behind it, like you were saying, especially if you're a Black person. Chris, that doctor not keeping you alive? They're going to say, pump, pump. Oh,
right.
Here we go. You know what I'm saying? Ancestors.com or whatever it's called, ancestry.com. It's like, y'all know what y'all doing, because y'all know people who are going to want to know to trace back who they are. It's going to be Black people. We're the most misplaced, like, people. Group of people. So it's going to be us. But what are you doing with my DNA? I'm not giving that's a code. That's like giving your hard drive to somebody from your computer.
Right.
I'm not giving you my hard drive. I got so much stuff on there.
Right.
No.
I mean, but that's how they get you, you know what I mean? Because of course there's great benefit in doing it. Is like getting to see all your past relatives and current relatives that you didn't know you were related to. There's an incentive in there, but there's also a cost. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it just puts people into tight spots. You know what I mean? Not even tight spots, really, because it's not that hard to say no. I'm good off of that, but because we live in such an on-demand culture, because that is the culture itself in essence, like we're less inclined to just think before we sign up for something.
Mm-hmm.
Like
You're absolutely
what I mean?
right.
Like think about any social media app that you're on, or any email list that you subscribe yourself to, or anything. They're all harvesting your data. The main way that they get money is by, which might seem innocuous, it might seem benign, it might seem just harmless, but over time, these people are getting the what they used to say back in the day. I got the, they got you. You know what I mean? They got you. They in every way, in all facets of life today, we really, your iPhone, you plugging in all this information, you giving your thumbprint up, just to, you know what I mean? You're giving your facial recognition.
I'm going to CVS to pick up some Mielle or whatever. I'm like, why this shit popping up on my timeline? Why y'all wait? Hold up, I didn't.
They got the drop on you. That's what they used to say. They got the drop on you.
They do.
And they got the drop on all of us, and we're signing up for that willingly because of the incentives that come along with it. Oh yeah, sure, I'll sign up for the facial recognition on my phone, because then it'll get me in my phone 2 seconds faster. But all the while, now they know exactly what you look like, your exact bone structure, your exact facial makeup.
Reading your eye patterns.
You know what I mean? Like, these are all things that we have to think about. Because trust me, it might not be an issue right now, but wait until they want to use that information against you.
Oh no, I think I think that's already happened. They've already done that just on a simple case. You know what I'm saying? So many people have what's the word? So many people have criminalized themselves. Like, I don't know, and this is going back, but I don't know if you knew about this, what happened with did you hear about that DoorDash situation?
No.
So DoorDash had this was like maybe a month or so ago. DoorDash had something happen. They had a technical difficulty, and whatever customers was buying, it was not getting charged. It was not
Okay.
getting charged.
Huh.
When I say that people went and ran amok,
Oh yeah, I
people bought
bet.
PS4s,
Oh yeah.
people bought bottles of expensive liquor. People like I know they were out millions of dollars, but I say that to say that DoorDash wasn't gonna let that happen. Y'all dumbasses, we still got your payment information
Right.
we still got your account. It's still linked to
Right.
so you might not have paid now, but you're gonna pay later.
Yeah.
So but it was just funny to me that, I'm like, people over here, they using the same thing. People was on TikTok showing their PS4s, people ordering pizzas and all kinds of shit for the sake of it. And I'm like, y'all so foolish. Y'all
Yeah.
because they got all your information. And now who knows what category this puts you into that you don't even know that you got put into because you did this dumb shit.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
we do have to be careful about that because everything is just a please click this box to agree.
Right. Everything's one click away. The
Yeah,
whole 15-page document is like scroll through it. Yeah, I accept the terms and
right,
conditions. You know what I mean?
right.
So we're all guilty of it because who has the time to do
Yeah,
it? But it's something to think about. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
it
something to
is.
think about because we're gonna run into it eventually. It's gonna be a big story out there eventually about the data being harvested and how they're using it against us. How what scandalous corporation or CEO has
Right,
been doing such and such with your information and all that. It's bad. I
right.
mean, you think about the I don't know if you remember, this was probably like 4 years ago. Let's see. I was living in 2018. Yeah. I was living with two female roommates, right? And they were both giggling back and forth, right? Because they was calling a bunch of people, and then like I guess they were like ending the phone call early, or they were FaceTiming people, and without people picking up, it was a glitch in Apple's system. But they
Hmm.
were calling people for like maybe a couple of days. You could FaceTime somebody, hang up. You could three-way FaceTime somebody. That's what they were doing. And then hang up. But like people's phones were picking up without them pressing, like
Oh,
without them
yeah.
legitimately answering. So my phone could be in the kitchen somewhere, and then somebody would have access to my camera and my mic. You know what I
What?
mean? Yeah, that was a big Apple thing.
Wow.
Happened like 4 years
What?
ago. Happened about 4 years ago. So
Wow.
like if that could happen, you don't think somebody in that company and that corporation has the power to drop in on you at any given moment?
Oh yeah, it's happening.
You know what I mean?
That's already happening. Yeah,
Right.
that's why yeah,
So
absolutely.
technology is too powerful for us to to be oblivious to people being able to use it against us at any given time.
At
So
any given time. I
right.
feel like
So
that's happened to some people already low key, you know what I'm saying? So many people get blackmailed through that. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Then whose phone got hacked into not too long ago, and they just released all they shit, sex tapes and
That's
all types of stuff.
scary.
Like, yeah, it could happen. So,
Wow.
all I'm saying is protect yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the best way
Protect.
you can.
Yeah, obviously you
Yeah,
can't foolproof anything, but for me,
yeah.
buy covers for your cameras. You know what I mean? Like the little
Mhm.
slide thing that you can put on your phone camera, so like nobody can see me when I don't want them to see me. You got a cover for it. I
Exactly.
got one on
Right.
my desktop. Just little
Right.
things, little things.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I want to shed light on. To pivot to something nice and light. I want to shed light on, and I want to give flowers
To
to
me. No, I'm just playing. No,
you
I'm kidding.
you're deserving of flowers as well. Absolutely, 1000%. But the main person I want to give flowers to today was Jamie Foxx. He's such a phenomenal
Yes.
actor, phenomenal comedian, phenomenal personality.
Singer too. That man got a
Oh yeah, of
voice.
course. How can I forget? This
He can sing
dude,
about anything.
right? He could play the piano. He's a great pianist.
Yes.
He's just an all-around talent, man. He's
Yeah, he
MVP
is.
talent-wise. And he's been in the news lately because of a very, very, very good Donald Trump impression. And so
Really?
so I definitely want to
Wow.
I wanted to play that video for you real quick. It's like a combination or a compilation of all his most famous impressions.
He does good impressions. He did
Yeah,
Jay-Z
all
one
done.
time and I was floored. I was like, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so talented.
I want to play that right now, but I'm glitching right now. My computer is really tripping out, so we might have to just call it a wrap on that. But in the meantime, while I'm trying to get that going, we do have another issue that was in the news not too long ago. That issue was Nicole Linton, who was unfortunately, she was the driver that was going 90 miles per hour. I think speeds of upwards of 90 miles per hour during the middle of rush hour on do you know what street it was on? Was it on Western?
No, it was on La Brea and La Brea and Slauson.
La Brea and Slauson. And so she ended up she ended up going through a red light at 90 miles per hour in the middle of rush hour and killing 6 people in that car crash. 2 of whom, well, one of which was there were several babies in there, infants, including a pregnant woman.
A whole family. She killed a whole family. They were on their way to, one of the cars was on their way to a doctor's appointment, had a baby in there and she was pregnant and it was her boyfriend or her fiance. They were on their way to an ultrasound or a doctor's visit. And then I think the other, you know what, I don't know who the other party was. I think it might have been a gentleman. I'm not sure. Yeah. Maybe another child. She killed all of them.
Yeah, everybody.
And lived.
Right. Which is generally what happens in drunk driving incidences. It's always. Well, you know what? Initial reports that I had heard said that she was intoxicated.
I heard that.
The story I'd heard was that a girl, a young woman, just broke up with her boyfriend and was emotionally a wreck. And then she started binge drinking and got on the road and was having, a mental breakdown, got on the road and that's what led up to the crash. So I don't know if that's been substantiated. I'm pretty sure it has by now, but we're just not informed about it. But I believe she was drunk as well.
Okay.
Which doesn't change the situation. It's still 6 people dead, several children dead. Still a terrible, terrible, terrible thing. Inexcusable in my book. Inexcusable, 1000%. But yeah, I mean, this is a tragedy.
It's just, people, so many people go through that intersection. I go through that intersection often. What's so funny is I had just went to go view some apartments right there at that intersection. I really liked them. It was a nice apartment there. I had went to go look at those apartments a week before. And I was like, dang, that just worked out that someone else ended up renting that, because I wouldn't even want to stay there after experiencing such a tragedy. Just, you change the whole balance of that area over there. Even riding through, I rode through the other day and I was like, this is so sad. I just had to pay my respects, because there were a few videos that went out, like, there were body parts, baby splattered. How there's not, people trying to say that, oh, well, now they're finding that she's had all these psychotic mental episodes. But I'm like, nah, it's inexcusable, because how the fuck does she become a nurse? And then we need to start examining how the hell she got up in there. She did what she had to do to become a nurse. How did she study? How was she that mentally unstable, but she was able to be disciplined enough to study? I have 2 friends who are going through nursing school. It takes a lot of dedication, takes a lot of hard work, takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of understanding what the fuck you're learning. You got to take math classes, you got to take science classes, biochemistry, microbiology, physiology. It's so much you have to know, dosage. So,
well, I mean, and we do have to make the distinction between mental illness and intelligence, level of intelligence. You might be mentally ill, but still be highly intelligent. You know what I mean? So
I just feel like how did it not interfere with her studies though, is what I'm saying. If she had all these cases, how the fuck did she make it through school?
well, apparently she took a year off because of her mental illness while she was in school. I believe, according to the
I think I
information I
did
looked
hear
up,
that too.
she was at some school for nursing in Houston, Texas, and she took a year off, which is how she came out here in California. And so from then, she got with this guy, I'm assuming, and that's throughout the course of their relationship. He eventually broke up with her. I'm assuming he broke up with her and sent her
He was
spiraling down
probably
this
scared of
emotional roller
her.
coaster.
He was
I
probably
mean,
scared of her.
yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right.
He's like,
You're
I
right.
don't know, this bitch gonna bite my dick while she. Well,
Yeah.
I don't give a damn. That bitch deserved the chair. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm not giving no justification to it. If you want to be bipolar, have mental illness, bitch, you can be along with right. It's a whole bunch of prisoners that got mental illnesses. You can be right along with their ass.
Yeah,
You
100%.
knew, I'm sorry, you knew what the fuck you was doing, even when you was drinking. I don't want to hear no shit about her having, I just don't give a damn about that. People are like, it's sad on both ends. No, it isn't. She made a decision. And you have people around you who supposedly knew that you had this mental illness. They should have been had your ass locked up if these issues was like this. My mom didn't play that when I was growing up. The moment we act crazy, she's like, you get the fuck out of my house or I'll send your ass somewhere because I won't deal with that. We're not going to do that around here. So I'm not diminishing the fact that there's something mentally wrong. Clearly there is, because you got to be a crazy ass bitch to do some careless ass shit like that. But you deserve to be in the general population with all the crazies. Y'all just know that bitch would get ripped to shreds if she's in the general population. That's what we know, that bitch's life will end. And that's why she got the complexion for the protection. I honestly feel like if she was a dark-skinned woman, I don't even feel like any of this would be happening. I said it.
Yeah,
I said it.
That could be true. That could be true. You might be right. You might be right.
They wouldn't. They would be like, kill that bitch, put her under the chair, do whatever you want, stone her. They'll be like, now all of a sudden y'all justifying this.
So let me get this straight, because I am not, my finger is not on the pulse in terms of public opinion. I'm not on social media much. So are there two different sides of public opinion? Are some people trying to advocate for her innocence out there? Interesting.
There are people who are they feel like it's sad on both ends, and there are people who are like, listen, this is why we need to bring more awareness to mental health awareness to Black people. There are people who are coming from that perspective.
Yeah.
That there's not enough, the saying, Black people don't go to therapy, or we don't do this or that. Just like those people who they say, the people shooting up the schools and shit, and they say that, no, if you that crazy, take your ass, then you just need to be in the general population. You didn't already kill somebody. It's too late to get you help.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's too late to get you help. It's time to be out there. You want to do that in a psych ward and do what? And have it easy. And but even then, I feel like she would suffer in a psych ward. She deserves to live and suffer, because I think that she's mental, but I also feel like she knew what she was doing. I do.
Yeah.
I do. You had a boyfriend. You went from Texas to California. Yeah, you took a year off of school, but you fly through an intersection.
Yeah. I mean, there's personal accountability at the end of the day.
She had to be thinking she was going to kill herself. She had to.
Yeah, probably. I mean, going that fast,
I mean, at the end of the day, regardless of your mental capacity, your your mental health, acts of violence or incidents where people die, there has to be some type of punishment for it. You know what I mean? There has to be. Otherwise, you're gonna have a bunch of people claiming that as the reason why they kill somebody. You know what I mean?
Right. You know how
So
many people
she
I could
should
have
definitely
killed?
right. So she should definitely be put in jail. In my opinion, she should be prosecuted for manslaughter at the very least. Manslaughter at the very least. And yeah, but I think the bigger issue, although this is a huge issue in my book, you know, like I said, she killing kids out here, so that's that that's hard for me to swallow. You know what I mean? For her to get off on anything less than a guilty verdict of murder, but
Mm-hmm.
but it does shed light on the mental health crisis that we are in this country. Mental health has been getting more and more attention, rightfully so, over the past probably 5 years. Um, and the need for mental health to be allocated into the healthcare system and distributed amongst the population. Like there should be more therapists, or there should be subsidized therapy for people. There should be more advocacy and more promotion, more
Yeah.
advertisement for mental health. Um, you know, otherwise we wouldn't be having kids going into schools and shooting them up. We wouldn't have homicidal maniacs out there on the street going on killing sprees. We wouldn't have the amount of violence that we particularly have in our community,
Yeah.
in the nation as a whole, but in our community specifically, we have an issue uh, with targeting our own people for acts of violence. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
We're
Uh,
traumatized. We have PTSD. We have never ever 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 had the chance to heal, and
right.
we've never even been recognized. We're busy trying to heal each other, but it's like not only are we killing each other, we have the rest of the world killing us, and we have
Yeah.
these mental illnesses, and all of this is just compact in our DNA. You know what I'm saying? I'm holding pain from my grandma. I'm holding
Right.
pain from her, you know what I'm saying? When my grandma, when she was growing up, she had mental illness. My grandma suffered mental illnesses, and the doctors experimented on my grandmother, and they did lobotomies on my grandmother. My grandmother had a lot of nervous
I
breakdowns.
hate to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, they did lobotomies on my grandmother. My grandmother died of dementia, but she suffered a lot. Her mind, she went through a lot,
I
and
hate that.
she was traumatized. My grandmother's father was white and Chinese, but when he messed around with a black woman, and he didn't want to own his child, so he put her out on the streets when she was 6 years old. My grandmother was on her own since she was 6, and she's met my grandfather and started having children at 14, but she was so traumatized, and these doctors were experimenting on her. So you talk about trauma over and over and over and over again, so I do understand it in that sense. But it's like, if we don't ever find, like, there's got to be some type of consequence, and like you said, even more importantly, there has to be something proactive done
Yeah,
to
exactly.
help assist. We have to get this into our communities,
Yeah.
because the violence is coming. It's violence, but it's anger, and it's hurt, and it's pain, and it's confusion, and it's all wrapped up into, it's creating new mental disorders, because these things are opening up neural pathways. Then these pathways are secret spaces, especially for people of color to hide in when they're confused and they don't know what to do. We're opening up different parts of the brain that don't nobody else understand, and it's for survival.
Right.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
is tragic, but I still feel like that bitch need to, like, bitch, I don't give a fuck how crazy you try to make yourself look in them videos. Ho, you need to take your ass to jail. Go look crazy up in the fucking jail, and let them little dyke bitches rape you with the broom, because
Oh my
you
god.
don't need to be out here with the general public. You over here killing babies, ho. You know what I'm saying? And bet you didn't know who you was gonna kill. If you're gonna kill yourself, do that shit by yourself. Hang yourself in your bathroom or fucking cut your wrist open and lay in the bathtub.
Joy is going all the way.
But you want to sit up here and put the rest of the community into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking.
Yeah. And that just that lends itself to how big mental health advocacy is, because it not only affects the individual, it affects the greater community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like you're saying, if you're not healed from past traumas, you're one way or another, other people around you are going to be suffering from them traumas too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We don't have to deal with it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's going to affect the people around you one way or another, whether it's in a huge car crash like this, or whether it's just talking crazy to your kids, like and then they grow up fucking not knowing how to talk to people and wilding out because they wasn't treated right when they were children and stuff like that. And that's an example I think we can all relate to.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's like you said, it's generational trauma. You know what I mean? Genetically and just culturally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
it's good to talk about these things though too. Yeah, you know, even just to kind of like go off of that, Chris, you know, I've been reading, and not to change the subject completely, but this is something I feel like it's important to talk about, is Black men and how they're getting help for their mental, because I feel like,
how's that?
Because I feel like, you know, we've been, a lot of people have been talking about it a lot. They were like, you know, Black men aren't allowed to cry.
Oh, yeah.
Aren't allowed to feel.
Right.
When they do. And I've talked to several Black men who have said this, like, okay, this is just on a small scale level. I'll express myself to my woman, but because I'm speaking honesty and it's hurting her, I have to put my feelings aside now to go be there for her because she doesn't like the truth that I'm expressing. Or people only want to see you when you're being funny or entertaining, but they don't want to hear your truth, or you look like a punk. Right. Or you know, you're supposed to be strong and this and that. So it's even opening that up, because I've read about a lot of cases now where, you know, the baby fathers is killing the whole fucking family now. It's like the shit that you hear in the horror movies. They killing the baby mama. You know, granted, I'm seeing somebody, you know, but it's a lot of, even since the pandemic, just I heard a lot more cases of domestic violence with Black men and their families, not even just on some girlfriend boyfriend shit. A lot of these men have families, killed their children. It's been a few of them. Man couldn't see his children. He was like, fuck, the whole family is gone. Yeah. So it is true. It's unfortunate. I feel the same way about them though too. I'm like, take your ass to motherfucking jail. But it's unfortunate, because maybe some of these things really could have been prevented, like you said, had there just been the proper resource out there, or people can be, at least even have this kind of informative conversation like how we're talking about it. Just the acknowledgement. Social media has changed that a lot, because there was never really an acknowledgement about it. You know, even in the Black family, even with my mama, I tell my mom, like, Mom, I'm kind of sad. I don't know why I'm feeling that way. Girl, you better get over it. Right. You better get over what you sad about.
Right.
Gee, I don't know. My fucking friend Timmy has a fucking credit score of 700, and this nigga not even in the 7th grade yet. Maybe that's why.
Right. Yeah, man. Yes, it's a big issue, and I hope the more we go into the future, the more we can bring this to light, the need for mental health to be addressed. With real life tangible solutions. You know what I mean? We need health for one, and this is going off on tangible. We need universal health care. You know what I mean? Because if we had that, you know, we would be able to mental health care is right in there. We would all be able to go see a therapist for free whenever we wanted to, which would lead to less school shootings, less mass shootings in general. It will lead to less you know, less alcoholism. I guarantee that. Less drug use. You know, like, this is an all-encompassing thing that can fix a lot of the issues in our country. And politicians are so hesitant and just they need to take the molasses out their asses,
Right.
to hurry up and get stuff like this done, because you know what I mean. It's not a matter of us not having the resources.
Right.
It's a matter of us not having the fucks to give towards this specific
Right.
issue.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
one thing that we can kind of keep our foot on the backs of these politicians on is universal health care. I feel like that issue isn't really brought to. It's not talked about enough. You know what I mean? Free universal
not.
health care. Like most politicians that run or campaign on certain issues, I haven't heard much attention brought to a campaign in the way of universal health care since Obama, with
I
Obamacare.
was just about to say that. That's what I was about to say.
That was how long ago? That was
Yeah.
2008. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was damn near 15 years ago. You know what I mean? And when he finally got it done, which was in 2011, I think, you know what I mean? So give it 10 years. We haven't really heard about anybody trying
Yeah.
to bring universal health care to us since 2011. So it's time
And
for us
there's
to
this,
get on it.
yeah, like what's the reason?
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is none.
There's no legitimate reason.
Yeah.
The short answer is pretty much politicians are paid by donors, corporate donors. And so when you have a whole pharmaceutical industry that relies on, well, I mean, you can make the
it's
argument.
true. It's true.
Well, they rely on sick people.
Oh yeah, they
So,
do.
Giving people universal health care would kind of get in the way of their bottom line.
Yeah.
At the same
We
time,
can't have y'all healing out here.
right. Exactly.
You know what I'm
So,
saying? Treating things.
You think about even the most progressive politicians like Bernie Sanders or AOC or whatever. They're not pushing like they should be, or like they were campaigning to be pushing for universal health care. So, the whole thing is corrupt. The whole system,
Because money talks. Because the people that's paying the money ain't paying for that.
Right.
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly.
This is why it's important for us to literally have these discussions and talk about health. That's one of the reasons why health became my passion. When I learned certain things, one of my passions, I was like, damn, all of this, and they don't want you to know these simple things about health.
Right.
Like working out and eating right and breath work and just simple things, and a lot of people laugh. They're like, oh, you're a hippie, and I'm like, no, that's just really simple how you live life.
Right.
It makes sense to eat stuff that comes from the ground where it grew. Right. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense to move your body. Your heart is a muscle. Yes, it does. I'm saying things that make sense, because at the end of the day, you can't completely rely on them. I went to an emergency room one time because I had a cyst on my ovary. And I was like, oh no. And they weren't even taking it serious. I ended back up in the emergency room because it ruptured when I went home. But I had known. I told the doctor, I said, I'm not feeling well. Something feels funny. Oh, we'll sign you up for physical therapy. I said, no, it's deeper than that. It's deep in my body. I can feel it. But, went home that next day, passed out, fell down the stairs. My head went or up the stairs. My head went into the wall. So the paramedics had to come. That's when I went to the doctor. And it wasn't until I went there, I talked to a nurse who was like, man, she was like, were you feeling this? Were you feeling dizzy at times? Were you like, I was like, yeah, I was dizzy for months. And so it just made me lose. I was like, no, I got to figure out a way as a Black woman to take care of myself, because they wasn't even taking me serious in the doctors as many times as I went for this pain that I was having. And I'm doing my best to eat right and all that. So I had to do my own research. And I say that to say that for us, it's not just relying on the politicians, because they are going to move slow as molasses. It's also about doing your independent research. We have to do the legwork for ourselves, for each other. We have to give this information, because if we don't, who else is going to do it? They're not going to. Some people don't even know what universal health care means. Some people don't even know that they should just be entitled to that. You go to other countries, they pay women for having babies.
Right.
Fathers get hella maternity leave. Like fathers can take 2 years off in some places. I was like, that's what, because do they give a damn about the fathers here?
Hell no.
No.
They barely give a damn about the moms. Shit. Barely.
Like, Papa Boo, you just gave the sperm. You know what I'm saying?
Sperm donor.
Yeah, that's it. You know, so when we talk about that, you know, universal health care, definitely one of the major things, one of the major aspects. They make a lot of money, like you said, off of these pharmaceuticals. Oh, you're feeling this, that, and that, and this could be a side effect of a mental disorder. You know what I'm saying? It could play out in certain things. Here, take this medicine, and then it'll give you these extra side effects to this. And then you need to take this for this side effect, and then that for that. But never a true treatment, you know. And especially for us, it's going to take a massive world wipeout, really, a whole reset, because we're traumatized beyond, like, you know. But the good thing is what's held in our DNA goes way beyond even the trauma too. So I do have hope, because we were something before the slavery, before the trauma. You know what I'm saying? So there's that, you know, there's a reason why we're resilient and why we still heal and why we're still here, you know. So those are the things that make me hopeful. But we have to have these discussions because people like to skip over them, you know?
Yeah, of course. That's what we're all about. Is bringing a conversation forward. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we got a long way to go.
Right.
You know, everybody, we all have a personal responsibility in this Blacksmith community of informing ourselves, keeping ourselves up to date with shit that's going on, both within our community and outside the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it all eventually trickles down to affecting us on the individual level. So, yeah, this is some heavy shit, but
it is.
But well, I got this Jamie Foxx impersonation video up and ready to go.
Yes.
So I'm gonna go ahead and play it, Mr. LJ. If you could bring it to the screen, thank you very much. And
look at his face.
Here it is.
Trump. A lot of great people. That's it. People on both sides. So let's say, excuse me. Fake news. They're trying to give me the. It's a lot of great people on both sides. Meet me at the Capitol. A lot of great people. Unbelievable people. A lot of people.
Fox's next.
He's a master.
He does Denzel good too.
Impressionist. Yeah. Let's play this. Let's play the Denzel.
His impression is of the one and only Denzel Washington.
Hold on. All right. Okay. All right. Come on. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, mariachi. So you got.
Right. Oh my God. Why he look like him
right there? Right.
That's
our
scary.
next favorite.
He like channeled him.
He channeled him, right? His face and everything.
Both of them, actually. He
the
channeled
expressions,
both of them.
all of that.
That's talent. That's pure talent.
You know, my man is a walking ball of talent. So before people go on and pass away and everything, he's a long way off from that. But instead of giving flowers to people that done passed away, let's give it to them when they up alive and well.
I love Jamie Foxx. He was influential in my childhood because I used to watch the Jamie Foxx show.
Oh yeah,
and then I used to watch him play Wanda. Look, he another one that they played the character too.
Right.
But the thing is, he's a man of many hats.
Really,
and he's so good at all of them.
Yeah,
he's just as funny as he is as a singer. He's just as talented acting. He's so versatile. And then let's just talk about how this man's career has been fluid.
Yeah.
This man has stayed relevant and has actually managed to be unproblematic and keep his life relatively
Yeah, no
private for him
scandals,
being.
no
Yeah.
scandals, no controversies. The biggest controversy I can remember him being involved in, if you can call it that, is when he he got fired on by LL Cool J.
Oh, really? He
Yeah,
did?
yeah. So they were both in the movie Any Given Sunday. It's a
Oh,
football
okay. Yeah,
movie.
I
Al
forgot about
Pacino was the
that.
coach. Cameron Diaz was like
Yeah.
the one of the owners of the team. Dennis Quaid was the quarterback. It had a bunch of stars.
Mm,
LT, Lawrence Taylor was in there. It was
okay.
a great movie. One of my favorite
Yeah,
movies.
I heard of that movie. I need to watch it. I know what
It's a
movie you're
great
talking
movie.
about.
Great movie. I might
Okay.
watch that tonight. But
It sounded like
for real, I'm pumped right now. But Jamie Foxx and LL Cool J, they got into a fight behind the scenes.
uh,
Yeah, LL like fired on him. Apparently, he talks about it in his stand-up. I think it's called I Might Need Security. He talks about it.
oh, okay.
In it, he's pretty much saying that LL was just getting too into character. He really thought he was,
I
playing
believe
football
it.
out there. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I think everybody believes it.
I
No,
believe
LL.
it.
You know what I
Right.
mean? He's just feeling himself a little
I
too
could just
much.
already tell the way he be in his music videos. He was
Right.
feeling
Right. You
it.
can see it, huh? So
Yeah.
yeah, he fired on him. But outside of that, I haven't really heard anything about him. Aside, and this is just rumor based.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's been substantiated. Him and it's not controversy, but it's a rumor that him and Katie Holmes had a pretty long
Yeah.
relationship.
I heard
But
about
but,
that.
but they never publicly came out about it.
Yeah, you saw them out and they
It's-
look like good friends. My only
right.
thing was I'm like, damn, you want something that looked that malnourished? But that was just that's just me. I mean, I like Katie Holmes, but I'm like, boo, you could do a little bit better. But supposedly he got a thing for he like his
For the
chicken
vanilla.
plain. He like his chicken plain.
You know what?
He don't like no Lorries on it.
Hey, you never know. Katie might be putting it on him. I don't know. Maybe she
I
got a
mean,
little.
she had Tom
I
Cruise
don't
jumping
know.
over couches, so that little
That's
bony
right.
pussy
That's
must have
right.
something.
Right. You feel me?
You know what I'm saying? That bitch she might have a little paprika up in there. She might have a little bit of garlic salt. And
She did. He had him on the couch jumping. I love Katie.
you're right, bitch got some Bayou seasoning up in there. Okay, Katie. Okay, KK.
I
Yeah.
wonder if they've ever had a child together. You think that might be
Who?
possible? It would
Jamie
be public
Foxx
by
and
now. Yeah.
listen,
Or
I don't
no.
know.
You know what?
Drake had a whole child, and
Right. If it wasn't
that
for
was
Pusha
Drake.
T, if it
And that
wasn't
was
for Pusha
Drake.
T, right. If it wasn't for
Right.
Pusha T, that baby would have still been under wraps to this day.
Right. He could, but I don't know. I mean, he has his daughter, but she's actually stayed out of the limelight for a long time too.
Well, she got a show
Um,
now, right?
yeah, she grown now. I saw
Her
last time I
and
saw
her dad are in it.
you know what? I think I did hear about that, or I seen a snippet of it. That's what
Yeah, I
I'm
saw a
saying. This
snippet.
man is still fluid.
Right.
He's still fluid. And it is so important to give people their flowers while they're here. And he's one
Yeah,
of those
sure.
people. I love him. I love
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx. I
Very
really
lovable
do. Like,
person.
yeah, I see him and I light up just because he's funny. He's a ball of joy.
He is. He is.
Yeah, I love him. So yes.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like if you saw him out in public, he would give you some love. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If
Like,
he was
he wouldn't be
genuine
like,
and wasn't
ugh.
right. We never know, but it just seemed like
Right.
he's just a lovable person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even if he's busy, he might be like, hey, I love you too. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like,
Right.
Jamie, darling.
Right.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, but
So-
yeah, I agree.
I did want to bring one more thing for us to talk about before we wrap things up.
Uh-oh.
This is a video of a young tennis star. Her name escapes me right now, but as soon as I pull up this video, I'm sure we'll get to those details. But the young woman just won one of the rounds of the U.S. Open. And when she was congratulated at the end of the match by her father and by her coach, they not only embraced her with a warm hug, but they also were caught on video patting her ass for a long while. It wasn't just
Really?
it wasn't just a little short while. It was for a long while. And so I don't know if this is a cultural thing because she is from like Chechnya. But it is. I'm gonna just play the video so that y'all can
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see this. Like, let's see. Chechnya. That sounded like a place where they got long backs anyway.
like what I got.
Chechnya.
That's funny. All right, so
Oh yeah, yep. I was right.
yeah, here it goes.
Karate body. Oh, she's
Here.
16? Okay.
16.
Her team
Oh,
will
this
no
man.
longer be rejoicing the same way they did during US Open qualifying that resulted in negative criticism. While
Walked over
speaking
to
with
her
reporters
dad.
Tuesday after losing in the first round of this Open,
So
Biglik
happy,
said,
so proud
"Of
of him.
course I saw the video that
Switch
appeared to
hands.
show her father Jaroslav Biglik
Oh.
and her coach Jakub Kohn patting her backside repeatedly after a qualifying match when
Now he kisses her on the lips too, so that might just be a family thing.
whole team.
You know what I mean?
Nah.
The
Biglik
coach
said,
got in on it. You know what I
It
mean?
was a
Let's play it.
spontaneous reaction
Play
of
it
the whole
again. Look at the
team. We rejoiced, Biglik said
know,
Friday. It was a
one more
spontaneous
time.
reaction of the whole team.
Yeah.
We rejoiced, Biglik said.
Now again, by American standards, this is problematic. But this might be a cultural thing. It might be okay for them to do this in Chechnya. Maybe it's you know what I'm saying? This also might not only be a cultural thing as far as nationality, but it also might be a sports cultural thing over in Chechnya. Out here, it's not. It's very commonplace to see basketball players, football players, and other male sports athletes pat each other on the butt to congratulate them for a good
Yeah,
play.
but he was
game.
doing a little bit of coddling. He was one coddle away from just putting his finger in her booty hole.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know about
is
that.
true.
I mean, that could be a cultural thing. It's for sure a Mayo thing.
Yeah. I don't think females are out there doing that, but again, we don't know. I don't know.
I said Mayo, like Mayo.
Yeah, so we just there's a lot of unknowns here, but either way,
What you think? What you think?
It's cringeworthy. It is cringeworthy, especially given the fact that we were just talking about the amount of child abuse, sexual abuse, molestation, and sex trafficking that happens behind closed doors. You know what I mean? Within families, even.
Yeah.
So, you know, this definitely gives people reason to be suspicious and to look into it further. Investigators, detectives, policemen, that should be looked into just to protect that girl if she is in a situation where she's being taken advantage of, for sure. That should be the least that we do as a society, is look into that to make sure it's no funny business. Again, I noted that once they were done embracing each other, they kissed each other on the lips, which I know in certain families that is.
Yeah, they do that.
You know, they
in
do that.
France, they're big on that. They say men and women do it.
Yeah,
but
you know what I mean. So, and by our cultural standards, we would cringe over that, but you know, we can accept it because we know for sure that is a cultural thing. So this butt patting thing might be under the same category.
That's true. You know, I just don't give slack to other people because Black people don't get slack for anything.
Okay, I hear
so
that.
it could be, but that even if that's a cultural thing, I mean, I guess I can understand it to a degree, but I still feel like the way he was grabbing the ass, like, and he was shaking it. I mean, there wasn't anything to really grab, but she's also a 16-year-old girl. I just feel like I would want my man doing that. I like when I'm holding on to somebody I'm intimate with and they give me that hug and then they slip down and grab the ass. Right. It was just it was cringy. I'm like, okay, if that's your thing, then that's your thing. But somebody should definitely look into it, because if it was a Black person, even though that's not in our culture to do that, if it was a Black person, y'all would definitely be up and down our asses and ready to R. Kelly that nigga and put him behind the jail. So, I mean, not that that's comparable, but I mean, you know, it made me kind of think about, I don't know if you ever saw that video and it kind of went around for a while. I saw the video with Angelina Jolie and her brother kissing, tongue kissing.
What?
Mhm.
Excuse
They
me.
used to hold hands. They have definitely kissed. Just look it up. Angelina
Tongue kissing
Jolie and
them?
yes, they have kissed. Like it was a kiss.
Tongue kiss.
They kiss. Maybe
What? I didn't even know
it
she
was,
had a brother.
she do, and he looked just like her. They blood brother and sister, and they've definitely kissed. Like, let me see. Yeah. Let me look it up. Angelina Jolie and brother. You know what? Let me hold on. Hold on. I'll be right back. Let me see if I can find it on here first so I don't disappear. But yeah, they kissed Angelina.
I'm looking at some
Yeah.
stuff
So
right now.
and they're American, you know what I'm saying? And people ended up dismissing that Angelina Jolie and brother kiss. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you see the pictures. Do you see the
I
pictures? There's
I
several
see a
pictures
picture
of them.
of it. I'm trying to.
It's several pictures of them like having a deep kiss.
I'm looking at a video that is supposed to be detailing it. Nah, that's Brad Pitt. No, that's
no. She be kissing her brother. There's quite a few pictures of them really like deeply kissing. Now maybe I don't know where her. I'm not trying to be funny. I don't know where her origin is, her background. She is very open. I will say that just by the amount of children that she's adopted, and she's very respectful of their code. What I do love about her is that she, you know, she really tries to really support their cultural differences and backgrounds. So maybe she's just a really open person like that. I don't, you know, but it's so, I mean, she's done it. Maybe some people are really, and maybe there are other people who are more affectionate like that with their family. I've never been like that with mine. Not no kisses on the lips. That kind of, I don't want to kiss my mama or my brother on the lips.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, you seeing them pictures, huh?
Well, I'm watching a video that's kind of detailing how she thanked him at the acceptance of an award at the Oscars.
Yeah, I think that's one of them. That's the biggest one.
She says, "I'm just so in love with my brother. He just held me and said he loved me. Jamie, I have nothing without you. You are the strongest, most amazing man I've ever known, and I love you." Okay, so they got some deep affection for each other in that family.
Listen, they might have fucked. Listen, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. So,
well, I mean, to be fair, they both came out the same womb, so maybe that's okay. I don't know.
It's hard for us to really listen. I just know we the black people, we don't do that.
He came out the same womb as her, and he was trying to get back into a semblance of that womb by going into her.
Chris.
What's wrong with that? I'm just joking. Jay
No. Yeah, listen. No. I know. I get it. Well, that's what we do. This is what we was talking about, right? So as far as like the tennis player and her daddy and her coach go, I don't know. It is looking like a little bit of a gangbang Pornhub type situation.
Yeah, for real.
But listen, if that's their thing, like we said, we just never know, because from what I've heard, and I saw something like a documentary kind of on this, where they were saying that when you go to other countries, like their commercials and their movies are more so centered around sex.
Yeah.
And while when you come to America, we have the most violent movies, the most violent shows. Ours is opposite. We're violence and stuff, but we do have this cast upon nudity, when nudity and sex is a little bit more natural than violence. I feel like you have to provoke that. While sex is something that you could be cooking and then all of a sudden you get horny. Like, what the hell? I was just making some damn breakfast. Why? Why I want
doing
some
breathing exercises and just busting
nuts?
That's
what I'm saying. Right. No, for real. Kundalini, for real. You could blink and be like, damn, why I feel like this? I mean, I think it's not just the pat of the ass. I do see basketball players do that, but I ain't gonna lie. If I saw Derek Fisher and whoever and they slapping each other, you know what I'm saying? And then I see him take that, he was doing this with his hand.
Yeah.
Shaking something that wasn't there, but he was nonetheless trying to shake it. So I don't know, you know, as I feel like, I ain't gonna lie, like maybe she's innocent on her end, but do I feel like Daddy Dick might poke up a little bit when that happened? Yeah.
Yeah, probably, huh?
Yeah.
real,
Do I feel like Coach? Yeah. Do I feel like they be looking at her in her little tennis skirts? Yeah. Because, you know, I feel like they end up having some admiration for this young lady who's doing all of this. And I just know there are some nasty men out there. And I don't know if you can do that. You know, my mom wouldn't even let me sit on my grandpa's lap after a certain age.
Yeah. And that's good.
Yeah.
And that's smart. You know what I mean? Like, because we just don't, we don't know. You know, all these surprises about like, all these scandals within families, and like, oh, we would have never thought. So to me, it's always just good to play preventative and with these social services, within family structures, within your individual life. Play defense. Don't wait until it's too late to be like, oh fuck, I should have been doing this, that, and the other. Like, no,
right.
just
when the signs is right there.
Right.
You
know the world that we're operating within, know what's going on in general, and don't exclude yourself from from it possibly happening to you.
Yeah.
Just take preventative measures. It don't take much. It don't take much. It really don't.
Yeah. I agree.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. These some topics. These topics it's weird because it's kind of hard to be black and white.
It is. It almost forces a gray area within all these conversations. But you know, I think if we, through discussion, we can arrive at either a more clear gray area or a more clear decision to make things black and white. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Take a step closer to that.
To clarity in general.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we've been able to do that so far in this episode, and that brings us to the close of our episode, which is the vibe of the week. So, you know, I don't know if you've reflected on what your vibe of the week is, but I know that my vibe of the week, Joy, is plant life. You know what I mean? Plant life is so crucial and important to not only the earth and the ecosystem. You know, so many animals are I'm trying to think of the scientific word for it, but so many animals rely on trees and plant life for shelter and homes. That's where they rest at night. Plant life feeds oxygen back into this world. Oh, I'm sorry, carbon dioxide, you know, back into this world, which helps our whole atmosphere. And you know, more than anything, you know, I base a lot of my morality and principles and whatnot on biblical scripture, and a lot of what Jesus was kicking was related to seeds being planted in the ground and the environment and the soil that you put your seed into. You know, it has repercussions. So you know, I've been nurturing a number of plants in my own personal space for the past 6 months, and it's really been feeding into my soul. And the more I'm buying more plants and I'm being responsible for more life, it's really just it's giving me a different insight about how I'm nurturing and taking care of my own life. You know what I mean? It's making me more consistent. The consistency that it's taking to take care of these plants. If you care about the plant life, you're gonna have consistent. You're going to be consistently caring for them. And so it kind of helps me to reflect on how I'm consistently caring for myself. Am I working out on the daily basis? Am I putting the right foods in my body? Am I giving myself and my skin enough sunlight? because that helps. Am I putting the right
Mhm.
vitamins and minerals in my body? So I think whatever we do in the outside world will always affect our internal life. And so me taking care of these plants has really it's really benefited me. And so that's my vibe of the week is
Love
is
that.
is is plant life. Plant life.
Okay, Plant Daddy.
Ay.
Hey. I have to concur with everything you said. My vibe of the week is not that, but that is my vibe of life. I
Hell
love
yeah.
plants. I've had
Yeah.
my plants, my oldest plant that I've had for the longest, I've had her for 3 years. My tree, her
Nice.
name is Love, and
Hey.
she's getting big too. I've had
It's so
love.
cool to see them grow and sprout
Isn't
and just
it?
it's like,
And you'll be
wow, I
like,
did
I
that.
did that.
I did that, right.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And it's this relationship. What's amazing is that you grow this relationship with another being that doesn't even talk.
Right.
You learn how to communicate through your energy. You look at your plant, you can tell, oh, you need a little bit of water.
Right.
You need a little bit of love. Let me pluck some of these leaves. The seasons
Yeah.
have changed. I can see the
Right.
way you're changing with the season. Oh, okay.
Right.
I see that you like this corner. Okay. And
Right.
then, like you said, it makes you more aware of how you're treating yourself because you have to be delicate with plants. They're actually very durable and they're very strong, which is like you are, right? But you
Mhm.
have to take care of them just like you have to take care of yourself with proper sunlight, proper food, enough water intake, but not too much because you don't want to drown yourself.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah.
You know?
So absolutely, and it does teach you so much, and it's just better for your atmosphere. So I'm
Mhm.
happy. I love hearing about Black people adopting plants, and then especially about like Black men having that in their homes. You know what I'm saying? Understanding and nurturing something so delicate just shows so much that we all have that divine masculine and feminine in all of us.
Right.
And it's not
Right.
even so much about sex and duties, it's about the nature of you, of your
Right.
being.
Right.
So yeah, it's so funny. Speaking of that, I used to I grew up Christian and then I kind of segregated from church, but I've always stayed very religious. I grew up in going to private Christian schools.
Oh,
And
nice. Me
so,
too.
so you hear, that's why you so damn smart. See that that's the best education you could get.
It
That
really
okay,
is, huh?
you know what I'm saying?
Say what you will about the Catholics, but they give you a good
Right.
education.
I went to Catholic and Christian. And yes, that's who people are like, oh my God, you're so intelligent. Look, child, didn't even finish college, just
Huh.
went, but
Right.
one of the things is a lot of plant life. And when I got older and people break into theology and they start talking, a lot of people said the burning bush that Noah, or no, not Noah,
Moses.
Moses was talking to was a DMT bush, one of
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah.
bushes
I've
that,
heard that
so
theory.
I was like, wow, that would actually make
Makes sense.
sense.
Yeah.
Yes, considering the fact that I myself have delved into mushrooms and all that,
Uh-huh.
and I have done DMT, so
Mhm.
I know how I can understand how that burning. There's so many other plants that do this, and animals eat these plants.
Right,
So
right, right.
really, who's more intelligent? Is it us or is it these plants?
Right. Right,
You
right.
know,
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look about if you well, I I don't know.
like
That's a,
fungus grows on
that's an
its own. Nothing creates
that's a
fungus.
yeah, that's right. Well, I mean,
You
does
know,
anything create plants then? Like, you know what I mean? Or
well, the
fungus or is
seeds,
fungi in a class? I know scientifically fungi is in a class of its own. But
yeah.
to your point of it creating itself, could you say the same thing about like grass or whatever, you know what I mean?
I
Or
mean, I don't know where the seeds come from, but I literally took some bell pepper seeds one time and just threw them underneath my apartment building one time. I didn't even
yeah,
do nothing really.
yeah.
And literally like a few days later, I was like, what is this green? And then I realized I was like, oh shit,
Interesting.
that's the bell peppers
Yeah.
sprouting. I just threw the seeds there. I was like, let's see what they do.
Right,
Next
right,
thing
right,
you
right.
know, they were starting to sprout. So
Yeah,
you can,
right.
yeah, but I know
Right.
what you mean. Like, does it just, but like,
I know so I
yeah,
get what you're saying as well now. It's like
yeah,
they're self-sufficient.
Yeah, you
You
know,
know,
and I feel like that comes with the kind of intelligence, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
Well,
then
I
we
mean,
eat them and yeah,
well, yeah, I would say life in general is self-sufficient. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
um, it, like, regardless. So you could take humanity. You know what I mean? Sure, we have civilizations and these organizations that feed us, that put us in the environment to eat, sleep, rest, produce, and do all that stuff, right? To
Right,
at a maximum level, at maximum efficiency, I should say. But say we
right.
didn't have any of this shit. Say none of it was around. We would we would still find a way to recreate ourselves.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
so in
Yeah.
that fact, I think, what I'm saying, like, all life, it just knows how to replicate itself. Life in general,
Oh,
it
yeah.
don't matter what it is, it knows how to make sure that it sticks around for the next decade or the next generation. You know what I mean? Like, that's the
Oh,
essence of
yeah.
life in itself, is to recreate yourself.
I agree. I think that you know that. I don't think a lot of other people realize that people underrate things like plants because they don't speak. You know what
Right,
I'm
right,
saying?
right,
So they
right,
don't
right.
think about the intelligence, but there's people like you and I who we understand and building a connection with growing plants and everything like that. You see the little bit of daily miracles like the plant
Yeah,
growing, and that
on a
comes
daily
with some
basis.
kind of intelligence. That's not just because we're watering it, it's taking that
Right,
element and
right,
it's
right,
doing something with it. The
right,
photosynthesis is taking
right.
place. I
Hmm.
feel like it's so
Hmm.
amazing. And then in turn, we're getting this exchange. You know, it's taking
Hmm.
the carbon dioxide and producing oxygen. I just feel like that's so amazing. So,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
beautiful.
but I
Beautiful.
agree with you though. Like we are, I mean, even down to just a man and a woman having sex and then the sperm going to the egg. I'm like, even that's crazy. I'm like, even that
Right.
little nigga got some
Right.
brains.
No, right, right, right. It's so fascinating.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so fascinating.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's so cool, And I think
yeah,
all, and for me, that's all a reflection of God. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
we're,
I
we're
agree.
we're master design, as well as all life on this planet. It's like, it's
Yeah,
masterfully designed. You know, it's masterfully designed. So it's
right.
beautiful, and plants are a deep reflection of that. I'm so grateful for these plants in my room right now, and
Oh,
for the life outside of these walls, because
yeah,
a lot of our medicines come from plants. A lot of the healing agents that we need to make us feel better, drugs, medicines, herbs, vitamins, and themselves can be extracted from plants. Yeah, it
yeah.
goes
That's
deep.
all. That's all I do. That's all I use is plants. It's like before grocery stores, before the doctors, before all of that. It was never segregated, especially with
Hmm.
our ancestors. It was
Right.
all one because the food is the medicine and the shelter, just like you were saying with the animals. But you know, before we were colonized, they figured that this was living like in an uncivil way, but it wasn't. We were just living amongst those things and knew how to use them. You can
Right.
take the bark and you can create shelter, but you can also use the inside and use the sap
Uh-huh.
for a certain tincture. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? You
Right.
learn where certain things are potent. You take the whole plant. That's where they get holistic healing from because
Mm.
other cultures, Western culture takes the most concentrated part of the plant and creates medicine. Other cultures that still use older traditions, like Eastern medicine, they take the whole plant
Hmm.
and they do
Hmm.
something with it to create a medicine because different things can be used for your hair, for your skin, depending on how you use that plant. So just even using it for oxygen and all of those things and for a good night's rest, like the snake plant, it helps balance out the energies
Oh,
actually.
really?
Some plants actually absorb negative energy and
Hmm.
help balance out positive energy. Snake plants are one of those.
Okay.
So I had a big one in my room. So it's
Nice.
just interesting to know. So that's why I say the intelligence, even if it's not like the plant's like, yeah, I'm just going to do this for this person. But the fact
Right.
that it just happens, on a
Yeah.
synergetic level, just naturally. I love that. So I love that vibe of the week.
Hell yeah.
Mine is
Okay.
resilience.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I remember you
perseverance.
mentioning that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it still is that because I've had a cry. I was like, has my vibe of the week changed? I thought about it, and I was like, no, I've pushed through this week. I've done. When I say that I have literally been moving, like I've been moving around, literally, figuratively, and still finding a way to balance it. And I think that's just a part of being mindful. It's okay to move and be and persevere through things, but always just remember what's going to push you through that perseverance is also getting rest and
Yeah.
having some kind of balance. I feel like that's how I've been able to actually push myself through. So I'm proud of myself, and it just makes me reflect on everything that we've all been through, within these last couple of years, everything that's happened, the state of the world. A lot of us, whether it's been hard or not, people who are standing here today persevered.
Yeah. 1000%.
We
1000%.
gotta give ourselves hugs. We're so hard on ourselves because we might not feel like, oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be at this time. But sometimes it's just enough to say, hey, I persevered. Sometimes I feel like we sleep on ourselves. Like, it's okay to pat yourself on the back and say, hey, I did this and I pushed through and I'm a G for this. And I have that talk with myself all this week. I said, damn, I did all this shit by myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that felt good.
Self-worth is crucial. It's integral. It's important. It's
Yeah.
imperative. It's imperative.
I'm literally about to start writing all the words down that you say, and I'm just going to come up with the word of the week because he said integral. I love
Yeah.
it. Look, the blacksmith is going to learn how to speak. If
Oh,
that's
they gonna
one thing that
learn.
they going to learn, let me tell you, we going to have Chris vocabulary word of the week
That's funny.
because
Yeah.
you definitely be coming with those. And I love it. I love it. You know what I'm saying? We need that. We need that. It makes a difference. You know what I'm saying? How people hear things, how people receive things, with words, and people need to hear that.
Oh yeah, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, it all boils down to communication. However you can effectively communicate with people is going to benefit not only you, but it's going to benefit them too.
Yeah.
Whatever I need to do to get it across, get my thoughts across to you so that you understand them is how I want to do it. So, if
Yeah.
having a bigger vocabulary is the key to that, then that's what I want to do. If just
But you're
learning
not
how
even
to
trying. That's the great part. It's not like you like, Assalamu alaikum. See, educational, foundational of the pivotal when
That's
you
funny.
examine the proclamations. Like it don't sound like you doing, you know what I'm saying? And then you can understand the context of what you're saying. I had a teacher that once said this, and I was like, man, this bitch really challenging my mind. Because she was like, I want you guys to tell me how your day was and don't say good. I said, damn. I said, well, how the fuck was my day?
Wow. Yeah.
And
See,
don't
that's
say
good
it was
parenting.
good.
That's good parenting. I like that.
Describe it. Tell me, what was it? I want to know what you really felt. It really challenges you to really use your
Yeah.
words.
Especially for our young Black youth. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
if we can learn how to, essentially at the end of the day, it's about playing the game. We got to play the rules by the game that we are within. And so if we can learn how to speak how these white folks want to think is the best way to speak, even if what I'm
Right.
saying, that's not naturally how you speak, because it's not. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
natural. But if you can learn how to jump into that speech, and then you can just jump right back out of it when you're out of the environment that deems it necessary to speak like that, then so be it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you can learn how to play the game, in order to get to where you're trying to be, shit, go ahead and do
Yeah.
that, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. And I love it though. I love that. So yeah, he got that. Then that probably came from that one phonics class in second grade. Teacher got
Right.
all them.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Thank God for private school, man.
Okay, for real. Look, when I have my children, that's where they going. Look, before y'all go to college, y'all going to private school because it is a better education. I will say that. I'm happy my mother made that investment.
Yeah, 1000%. Shout out to the Black moms holding it down,
Yes.
making it
Okay. To
happen,
my Black queen.
making it happen. My goodness.
Yes.
Honestly, that's gonna be the vibe of the week one of these days. Black moms, but
Yes. Oh my God. I love me a Black mama, even if it ain't mine.
right, huh? For real. Something about Black moms make you just feel extra good.
Right.
You
Even
know
if
what I
they're
mean?
unsure, they be like, it's gonna be okay, baby.
Right,
And that's
right,
all you gotta hear.
right.
Yeah.
Honestly. Think about how many matriarchs then held it down. Like I specifically, I think about grandmas. You know what I mean? Like they just know how to. They just know how to make
Grandmas is
everything all right.
priceless.
They really are. They
They
really
just
are. Shout out to the
I
Black
love a
grandmas out
grandma.
there.
Yes.
You know,
Okay, for real.
you might call
Yeah.
her. There's so many different ways. You might call her Big Mama. You might call her
Some people
Granny,
say mama, yeah, granny,
Mama. You
nana,
know, Nana. Yep,
nana,
yep.
shit, mama. When I hear children call their grandma mama, I love it. You know, and sometimes it's different reasons. Sometimes their mother wasn't there as active in place, but then sometimes she was just like that second mama, you know?
Mhm.
And so I love that. They'd be like, mama, like, what? Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that we were able to get together for another episode to bring some fresh knowledge to our audience.
Yes.
Hopefully that they can take and use and help to better their lives or the lives of those
Mhm.
around them. And yeah, we're gonna do it again sometime real soon.
Yes.
And we just like to thank y'all out there for participating with us and listening to another episode of The Bronze Room. We'll see you later.
Yes. Peace.
Peace. All right. Are y'all still there? LJ or Joy?